There we go. Now we're good. Hi, YouTube. How you doing, YouTube?
Hi, everybody.
We're gonna give it a minute. We're gonna give it a minute.
Welcome, Amy Carter.
Will this video get banned if I say I don't like YouTube?
Nope.
Okay.
We make fun of YouTube constantly.
I don't like YouTube. I don't like anything about it, really. It's fairly awful.
I think the only thing that gets you banned right now is saying beer flu. We call it beer flu, so you can't say the C virus. You can call it C virus. You just can't say like the actual name.
How does saying cunt virus get you banned?
And the other one you can't say right now is you can't say anything about that video game sequel to The Last of Us. They'll take down your stream for that. That's a whole other long story.
How do you have The Last of Us and then another one?
It's apparently not The Last of Us. It's the other Last of Us. Yeah.
How would that get you banned? Mentioning a video game.
I think it'd be more interesting if they called it The Rest of Us.
God, I hate YouTube so much for their stupid fucking rules. Their Matrix robots that scan the system and are like, we're going to ban you for this.
Yeah, the fucking YouTube sentinels. They just kind of crawl through like,
We're going to get on the Nebuchadnezzar and we're going to ban you.
It is. It's a shit show. And they always have preferential treatment to like the bigger channels or the corporations over us little guys. So we never had a chance.
Fuck it. When like massive celebrities are on YouTube, just like Instagram and Twitter, it just made it useless for everyone else.
They're bored. They don't get enough attention. So they're going to come in and take over this platform too.
Yeah.
And my channel's been suffering ever since. So,
well, even before that, I didn't give a shit because it was just kids opening boxes of toys, people playing video games, which ironically they can't play Last of Us.
No,
different sentence, part 2. And then so it's that, or it's like weird, stupid videos. You remember those videos where it's like, and it's just robots creating videos where it's like Elsa freezes up in a Incredible Hulk, and it's just like those weird shit, and it's like it's just created by some weird algorithm. YouTube has been fucking terrible for years.
It has, yeah.
Let's change subjects here.
Agreed.
Is Amy still here?
I don't know. She might have fallen asleep. Maybe she'll come back. We're live. If people hit the ding the dinghy, then they'll get notifications that we're live. You know, guys, this thing. Now I got that out of the way.
Okay, we're back. I don't like being muted. I feel like they might as well say your mic is neutered.
That's the only time that's going to happen.
Okay. At the very end of the show, after we wrap up, you can do that again, or between shows.
By then, I'll have forgotten about it.
So let's go ahead and begin. We like to begin where you go, oh, the show started. So welcome to LIW Tales From The Crypt Review. I'm Phoenix West.
I'm Adam Wilcox.
Yes, today we watched Tales From The Crypt 314 Yellow. And let's just say, Adam, you've been on quite a few of these episodes of me. And as well as the one that you chose for Never Go Back, which I think is what we're calling this entire online series, right? Just for your side of the
I like it, yeah.
program. On my side, we're not calling it that. We're only doing Never Go Back when it's a different show, just because otherwise it gets confusing. The point is, though, you've been on a lot with me with these shows, with the Tales from the Crypt episodes. This is the first episode that wasn't fucking terrible.
Yeah, surprisingly, it was actually good.
To the point where we're sitting there and we're like, we did a live commentary episode. If you want to listen to those live commentary episodes, I released them on the channel for LIW Tales from the Crypt Review. Go to whatever podcatcher you have and download it there. But so our live commentary will be released whenever this episode is, which is late in June, because we have a lot of episodes up until then. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is the only chance you really get to hear this until June, late June. I think the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of the episodes are fucking terrible. They're boring. They're I don't want to say predictable. They're just
How many episodes have I watched with you so far?
This is episode 11. You've been on 5. I want to say
something like that. Yeah.
5. Sounds right.
Something like every single one of them have been. Why did we watch this show again? What were we thinking? What?
To the point, and that's kind of what I'm wrapping around to, is to the point where that's why we started talking about, and you mentioned you should call the episodes or to call the show Never Go Back, because we have not been satisfied by an episode of Tales from the Crypt until now. So
it's awkward. It's an awkward feeling. I need an adult. I don't know how to react to this.
Because we both have memories. We haven't seen the show since the mid to late 90s, somewhere in there. And it kind of made us go, were we high when we were 6? What the fuck? Or 7 or 8 or however the fuck old you were. You're older than me, obviously, but
yeah,
still, what's the excuse? And now we finally get to an episode and we're like, oh, okay, it can be good. And it puts me in an awkward position because it's our very first live YouTube show. And we're stuck with a Tales from the Crypt episode that's good, and a Twilight Zone episode that is so fucking middle of the road, you will never drive over it. It's impressive. So I don't know what to say for the next 2 hours of my life. I have no idea.
The commentaries that we've been doing for these are like little miniature mystery science theater episodes where we're just constantly ripping on every dumb decision, every bad costume change, bad lighting, just any dumb thing you can possibly, things that we didn't talk about when we were kids. You know, like we're picking them apart, but we're usually picking them apart not just because we're assholes, but because we're bored and we just want something. We want something to do. We have to have fun with it. You know, the same reason you watch like The Room and you make fun of every bad decision made behind the making of that movie. You're doing those with Tales from the Crypt, and you're wondering, how is this on for so many seasons and so many episodes?
It's true. Because, I mean, we're on episode 11. This is our first quality episode. I really enjoyed this episode. So much so that we plan to air today on YouTube, on Adam's channel, Raiders of the Lost Flicks. We plan to air at 10:15 Eastern. And we're looking at the clock after we ended, and we're like, how the fuck are we so late? I mean, we're only like 15 minutes late, but we're like, ha. And I looked at the time clock on the episode. I go, oh, it's a 40-minute episode. I had no idea. Like, we didn't realize we're watching something that's an extra 15 minutes. It flew by. It felt shorter than On a Dead Man's Chest, for sure.
So this is season 3, episode 14. So it can't really be a season finale, can it? Was it a season finale? Okay. So this was the season finale of season 3. And so far you've been picking these at random out of a bingo ball, like the episodes that we watch.
No. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But no, as far as I'm not choosing them. The bingo ball hopper is...
Yeah, we randomly choose these, and we finally found one that not only did not suck, but actually we were so engaged that we stopped making jokes. We were like getting into the show, like really one. There it is, right there. There's the evil bingo hopper that
thing loves cartoons.
That thing right there belongs in
next to
Friday the 13th series. It belongs in that vault where they hide all the cursed goods. Yeah.
I want to see this thing sitting next to Annabelle and
under a jar, you know.
And I pulled the balls out earlier because if you remember on the last episode, I dropped
That's what she
said.
Do
you remember when I dropped a ball and I never found it?
Did the dog eat it?
I searched my entire house, under everything, behind everything. I removed furniture and I looked down with a flashlight and I didn't find it. So I had to go up and pull up I'm missing 062. So there's just a blank spot in the wall over here where 062 should be. But
watch that be like the best episode too.
Here's what I was going to ask you. The reason I brought it up. Do you think we should watch 062 next? Because that's what I pulled, technically.
I don't know. I'm scared. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes.
I will say it's not a cartoon episode. It's not a POS episode. Perversions of Science, which is the most fitting acronym you can name. POS. So, do you think we should watch that next? Because I'm kind of I'm not against it.
I have a feeling that
Or we
the little bingo ball, it's gonna like come up one of these days. It's gonna like start giggling and then just chase you around the house. You know?
Yeah, it's just gonna appear next to me like the fucking Grudge, just be in my hair when I'm showering.
Just come on here.
Just so I can get that live on the show for the first time. But we'll pick one later. But let's get into today's episode. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, written by 5 different people, even though one's just a creator. But the main writer was A.L. Katz, whoever the fuck that is. But Robert Zemeckis. We previously had an episode called On a Dead Man's Chest, directed by William Friedkin, who did French Connection and Exorcist and a ton of great movies. That episode fucking sucked. Today we did a Robert Zemeckis episode, who did a lot of them, and he's one of the producers of the show. And it felt like a short film that was created much like Twilight Zone had what the fuck is that episode called in season 5? We're gonna get to it shortly. Bridge. It's a French short. Why can't I think of the name of it right now? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It felt like a short film that was turned into an episode, and we're kind of like, 10 minutes in, we're kind of watching it, and I was like, oh, we're not talking, like during our commentary episode, and that's a good sign, really. It means we're enjoying it at least.
You could have probably stretched this into a 2-hour episode had you added like a couple of plot twists, maybe some side quests and things like that. But I think it works better at the length that it is.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes, and it felt like a normal episode, which is 23, 24.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of these episodes have been like what, like just a little under half an hour to allow for commercials. Yeah.
I mean, they might be 30 minutes. I don't know, because on HBO there's no commercials, but who knows how long they normally are. But this one's 40 minutes, and it flew by. Like, we didn't even notice the length. And when I think of Twilight Zone episodes that are an hour, or other shows like that, those fucking drag. And they're like, there's so, you can tell.
It's like, oh, this is one of those hour ones.
Cut this scene. Why is this here? He's just walking to his car. Why are we showing this like a 70s B movie? We're just walking to a car and they're gonna drive away. And you're gonna watch them drive the whole way, and you're just like, oh.
And if it's a 70s B movie, you have to zoom in real fast on the car and then zoom real fast out.
Stupid music's playing, and it's just like,
got that little disco music in the background. Waka, 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 waka.
Bonk, bonk. Yeah, you get that shit going on. But this one just flew by. And the main story is Kirk Douglas is, I don't remember his position in the army. I don't fucking care. Yeah, it's World War I. It's 1918. They're in France, somewhere in France, as the episode says. So anywhere in that country. And they're trying, what are they trying to do there, Adam? Are they just trying to move across France?
I think, they're just trying to move the front, like they're pinned down by the Germans. If memory serves me correctly, this is where Frank's war knowledge would have come in a little better. But Frank is lost in the actual Twilight Zone, so he will not be here.
Yeah, but Frank would talk about 45 minutes worth, and we
would know everything about World War I at least.
Frank is not with us today. He's dead. Oh, let's say, Frank's here. Oh, he's in the chat. Great. How you doing, Frank? This is weird doing a live show. Yeah, they're trying to get across France, and somewhere in France, who knows where. And then his son, so Kirk Douglas is the commander, or the fuck he is, and his real life son, Eric Douglas, is playing his in-character son, who's like a leader of his men.
Sergeant, some kind of sergeant, yeah.
Yeah, and Lance Hendricks is like, so Kirk Douglas's 2 right-hand men are Lance Hendricks and Dan Aykroyd, of all people. And they're just kind of like, yeah, he heard all that. Good, Frank. I hope you heard all of it. You took it to heart. No, I assume you're going to hear this. So his 2 right-hand men, one of them's a fucking Ghostbuster, my least favorite Ghostbuster. And they're kind of saying, oh, tell him about your son. And he's like, okay. So Lance Hendricks has to go, your son, he's yellow. He's yellow. He's a coward. While smoking a fucking cigarette. And smoke is coming out of his mouth even when he's not smoking. That's how much that man smokes. It's impressive, like residual smoke.
He is made of cigarettes.
Yeah, but there's really no plot here to discuss. I feel like we could zip through the plot in like 4 minutes. So, should we do that? Do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's important to arrive, get through the plot, and then we'll describe why we liked it.
Yeah, I guess we'll just zip through the plot and then we'll talk about it scene by scene or whatever we think is funny. They show a scene where they're gonna Eric Douglas is gonna bring his men out there. They're gonna go find something. I don't know exactly. Kind of what I mentioned. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but you kind of get the idea when you're watching it. The special effects are pretty good. They spent some money in this episode for once.
Looks like they spent quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not like crazy good looking, but you're like, oh, this is TV. This looks really fucking good for TV.
There was quite a few extras I noticed. Yeah.
In 91 for TV, holy shit.
Yeah, it's movie quality for TV.
Yeah. They're running across the battlefield at night. They make Eric, I don't remember his character name, Lieutenant Martin Calthrob. I'm gonna go ahead and call him Eric Douglas from now on. They make him stay behind, and they're like, blow the whistle or make a noise when you see the Germans, okay? And then we see his soldiers run along. They dump into a trench somewhere. We see that Eric sees the Germans coming out, and he just sits there. He's just like, he doesn't do anything. And all of a sudden, you hear like grenades going off and explosions. And then Lance Hendricks comes back, and he's just like holding his guts in, and he's like all bloody, and his spine's all shot to shit.
Literally holding his guts in with his helmet. It was pretty. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, right now his spine is exposed. Like you shouldn't see someone's spine. This guy, you can check his vertebrae from in there. Like, oh, this one pinched. But he's like, you fucking coward! You're so yellow. You should have blown the whistle. What the fuck, dude? Oh, come on! I had a better chance than Alien. Oh god.
I'm pretty sure at one point I saw cigarettes falling out of Lance Hendrickson.
Yeah, it came out of his nose. It was weird. Like he stored them, like he squirreled them away in his nose for later. It was weird.
He had an extra pack of cigarettes right on his spine, just right there.
Yeah, like duct tape to it, like John McClane. Like tape. Yeah, he dies. I thought he was dead, and then apparently Eric ran back to his daddy and was like, "Daddy, they're all dead, but I killed so many Germans. I killed those fuckers good. I killed them so good, Daddy. Aren't you proud?" He's like, "Stop calling me Daddy in such a weird way, you freak."
Typical 12-year-old Call of Duty player.
Yeah. And then, were you camping? You're a camping noob, aren't you, bitch? Using the YouTube. He holds up a handgun. He's just like, he's got like a fucking 6-shooter. He's like, "I shot all the Germans. I killed them all." And you're like, dude,
I killed all 12 of them with these 6 bullets right here.
He didn't even think enough. There's a movie called A Very Long Engagement, where the guy wants to get out of World War II, so he shoots his own hand off, I think. And he's thinking kind of what would reveal it to be true, and he kind of covers his own crime, but also some guy sees it, kind of ruins it. But he thought ahead, and this guy doesn't even think to shoot some fucking random bullets in the air to make the gun warm, to make it look like it was fired, to have the gun, the make it look like it was shot. It's something.
So not only is he yellow, he's fucking stupid too.
He's so yellow, he's scared to shoot his own gun into the air. That's how fucking yellow this guy is. He comes back, tells Daddy, "I shot the Germans. I shot the Germans. They're all dead. I shot the whole country of Germany. There's no more Nazis. What's this march right into Berlin? We're fine." And then Lance Hendricks comes in, and this is what you mentioned. He's literally holding his guts in with a fucking helmet. And he's just like, "This fucking guy sucks. Your son sucks, dude. He got me killed. Oh, he didn't even blow the whistle. He's yellow. And he falls back. He lets the helmet go, and his bacon pours out of his stomach. It looked like strips.
Literally, yeah. It looked like he dropped like his whole, like the entire haul from the Cattleman's Meat Market.
It's disgusting. It's
pretty great.
For me. It was like a Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, he sucks. And he falls over, and Kirk Douglas is like, "Is this true? Is this true? Are you a coward?" And he's like, "No, I shot all the Germans, like all of them. There's 63 of them, and I had 6 bullets, and I just like waited for them to line up, and the bullet would go through like 12 of them at a time. It was crazy.
However, Lance Hendrickson literally and metaphorically spilled his guts to the general. His dying words is, "Your son is a fucking piece of shit." Not those exact words, but that's what he decided to use. His last breath was to say, "Your son is a yellow piece of shit."
Yeah, what he actually says, or what he's about to say, you can tell is, your son is, your son is Tales from the Crypt episode 314 yellow.
Subscribe to HBO.
HBO Thursday nights at 8 p.m. He dies. And then Kirk Douglas grabs his gun. He's like looking at it. He's like, this has never been fired. Ever. This thing is like right off the factory floor. I don't believe that this thing has ever seen the light of day, actually. I think it's been in the holster when you've been in the sun.
What would have been great is if Kirk Douglas would have just looked down the barrel of the gun like this and said, "Oh, here, use the prop to reenact the scene here."
I'm going to fill this with whiskey and then drink out of your barrel because it's so fucking clean.
Okay, so yeah, according to this thing here, you did not fire any of the bullets.
My eye! Oh, my son is yellow.
My son is yellow. I love my dead yellow son. No.
So then he does a. Okay, I'll just say it. He sentences his child to be court-martialed for cowardice, which carries a sentence of death. And then his son freaks out. Oh, we missed the scene earlier where the kid was like, "I want out of this army. Like, I do not want to fucking be here. Why am I here? I am a coward. Why am I here? Please get me the fuck out of here. It's in your power." And he's like, "It's not within my power." So we already established he does not want to be here at all. Not at all.
He wasn't supposed to work today.
Yeah. He's Dante from Clerks.
No, he's supposed to be here.
And then he's supposed to be in this war today. But whatever. He plays hockey on the roof and then he fucks off. But Kirk Douglas sentences him to a court-martial. And then the next scene is the court-martial scene, which is a minute, 2 minutes.
They actually have a ceremony and a court-martial. Nobody votes on anything. It's just the guy sits there and, yep, you've been found guilty. And I'm like, couldn't you have just bypassed all? No, procedures are important. We have to, like, I assume that you're in France, you're on the front lines, but we have plenty of time to pause the war, get all of your researches, first have the ceremony to find your son guilty.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't deliberate. It wasn't 12 angry men. It was just, nope, he's guilty.
No, it was 15 calm men having a dinner, and that's the excuse. Like, let's have a court-martial, therefore we can get the good meat. Like, let's eat the dead soldiers.
We can open up the sea tins. Yeah.
The buffet of dead soldiers is open, and they seem like they're just like eating grapes, not so much judging a human life from one of their own. Because he's like, I found you, you're having a court-martial for cowardice, and therefore tomorrow you'll be executed. And I'm like, isn't this a court being the key word of court-martial? Oh, you just found them. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't lawyer up. He didn't have any defense. There was no, none of that shit.
No jury, no deliberation, no judge.
No Kevin Bacon, no Jack Nicholson, none of that.
It's a terrifying world to live in where the guy goes, I want to sentence you to something. I feel like you're guilty of a crime, therefore executed in the morning. That was a good trial, wasn't it? You're like, that wasn't a trial. What? Like, oh, this is so unfair. This is more like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, it's almost like a Patriots Super Bowl.
Okay. So you lose the Giants twice, or the Eagles once, and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And therefore he gets executed tomorrow morning. And then we see little Eric Douglas sitting there crying. He missed a war episode, Frank. Yes, you did miss a war episode, and it was a fucking great one. And we're trying to get through the plot. I'm trying. And the next day, or the later on that night, who cares about when it is? Eric Douglas is sitting there, and it's really fucking cool looking shot. It looks like a scene out of Exorcist 3, which I love. And he's sitting there, and he's just like talking to his dad, and they're having a little one-on-one conversation. He's like, You're gonna execute me in the morning. That's how do you do it to your own son? I don't want to be here. I want to leave. Why are you doing this? I'm not a coward. And Kirk Douglas is like, yeah, you are, bitch. You're my least favorite son. My other son was in a ton of great movies. What the fuck are you doing here? Doing a Michael impression. What the fuck?
You're not even Emilio Estevez.
You look more like an Estevez than a Douglas.
You look more like a Joe Estevez. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like the love child of Joe Estevez, Michael Douglas, not even Kirk. And
Brundlefly. Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks like some sort of anagram of all of them in DNA form and spit out and shat into the earth.
He's just a hybrid of the 80s. Yeah.
He might be in a bunch of stuff and I have no idea and I don't care. He wasn't bad. Let's just say he was pretty good in the episode, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I would like to mention right off. I don't think there was a bad performance out of anyone. Even Dan Aykroyd was playing a straight man. Like, he was committed to this.
Yeah, he was great. He wasn't distracting like I thought he would be. When I saw his name in the credits in the beginning, I'm like, oh god, here we go. He's gonna talk about aliens and
he's gonna try to sell us some crystal vodka or
vodka. There's no glycol in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, dude. His vodka's good. It's pretty good.
Make some 1918 Ghost references to symmetrical book stackings, or
Hey Kirk, you want to read my 973-page version of Ghostbusters 3? They meet the Blues Brothers. It's gonna be awesome, brother. Come on, man.
Oh God.
For some reason, nobody else in Ghostbusters will call me back about it. John Landis won't return my phone calls. He won't return anything.
Even Jim Belushi won't do it.
He wiped his ass with it and sent it back in the mail. It's the exact same copy I sent him. What a dick. Please, Kirk Douglas, please work with me. I have nothing against Dan Aykroyd. I just think he's a fucking crazy person.
We're kidding. We're like I said, this when it's a good episode, it's really hard to find things to make fun of. We're reaching here. Yeah.
Can't wait to draw tomorrow.
Reaching in there.
And then he tells his son, I'm going to go ahead and stuff all of the guns with blank bullets. Therefore, blank shells. You're not going to get shot. I want you to look like a fucking man. Be a fucking man. Just face it, knowing you're going to pretend to die after they after they fake shoot you. You're going to fall over, act dead, and then I'll smuggle you out of here. We'll get you food. We'll get you out of here. No big deal. At which point, part of the reason we kind of predicted what would happen was, why would you go through all this? You could have just not done this. If you really... So that was kind of a tip-off that he was going to do that. What he does, which I'll get to in a minute, is you could have just not court-martialed your son, and that'd be the end of it. It'd be way less stress on yourself. Right?
Well, the only thing I can think of, just like being ex-military myself, had the general done that, then he would have lost the respect of his men. You know what I mean? It's like if something's got to, you look like a hard ass when you're willing to put duty above your own family.
Exactly. But I'm saying that tips you off to the fact that he really is going to execute his son.
Yeah. That was kind of a huge clue.
Because everyone has acknowledged the fact that he is yellow, and he goes, I know. I'm like, okay, my son's yellow. And he seems like a guy that's like willing to ignore it, like the fucking actor who has the drug-addled son. Like, if you're an actor's child, you're going to die of a heroin overdose like 87% of the time. I'm amazed both of these Douglas brothers live this long, honestly.
Or anybody from the Partridge Family.
Yeah, it doesn't end well if you're an actor's son. Look at every fucking actor. I just looked into Eric Douglas. He died 16 years ago at age 46.
Shit. I just turned 46.
He died, let's see, of what? Accidental drug overdose. Holy fucking shit, I called it. Oh my God, I did not know that till right now.
Oh, that's fucking creepy, man.
I just proved my fucking
point. That is fucking creepy.
I swear to God, I did not know that. It happens all the time with actors' kids, though. They die of drug overdoses.
Oof. Yeah.
Man, what are the fucking odds of that?
Living in Dad's footsteps. This was probably his reward for getting out of rehab the first time, was getting this episode.
He died 13 years after this episode at age 46. That is fucking crazy. That is he's a little too old to die of a drug overdose and not be in a band, right? That's a weird age to die of a drug overdose.
I don't think Dan Aykroyd is a lizard person, but I think he might know a few. He might know a few.
He's a lizard person.
Yeah, he might know a few.
He feels like a guy that definitely believes in lizard people, though.
Oh yeah. He knows a few, has their address, exchanges emails with them,
Talks to Alex Jones about the lizard people, what oils they can take to get rid of them.
Has a couple of them on speed dial. Yeah.
They're both fucking crazy people, to say that. But I really didn't know about Eric Douglas, and now that makes a lot of sense, actually.
That's really creepy that you told me that. I did not know that, and I'm glad that you went the extra length to look that up, because now that I know that, that's like legit, because that's the only thing I was going to say about this episode. It's not scary. Not saying it has to be, but what you just told me is actually scary. It's like actual fact. That's pretty creepy shit.
Yeah, especially right after I said that. And that's exactly how he died.
Like, as soon as you told me that, like, I felt a couple of hairs stand up on my neck. No bullshit. Woo.
Yeah, he's good in this episode. It makes you wonder, like he might be in a bunch of other stuff. I could look into it, but I'm not going to. The point is, I don't recognize him. He clearly looks like a Douglas, though.
Yes.
He has the exact same mouth and the same smile, and he kind of grunts through his teeth a lot, and just like the Douglases. And I liked watching him. I wish I wish that didn't happen, obviously, because he's in
the guy can act. I mean, he's got a good coach, his dad, so
yeah, it's like the Fondas. I really love the Papa Fonda.
Yep,
I love him.
Peter Fonda.
Yeah, Peter Fonda's no, no, Henry Fonda's the great one.
I was just trying to trip you up.
And then Peter Fonda is the fucking hippie brother. And then
from Easy Rider, yeah,
and he just died recently too.
Yep.
And we got Jane Fonda, who's
hot,
who's just against everything in the 70s and 60s and 70s, and then she's just a fucking wreck. And then we have Bridget Fonda come along way later.
She's hot too.
And she just fucking vanished as well. I have no idea where she is. They seem like they're all fucking weird underground people. I have no idea.
They might actually be lizard people.
They could be. You could convince me the Fondas are lizard people.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we found out that the Fondas were lizard people. But now we know that lizard people that do have a weakness for drugs. So
yeah. So there's a lot going on there with those families. Let's just move on though, because I don't want to talk about Hollywood families all night, because it gets fucking weird. It's a downward spiral. I don't go down that road. But so it seems like at this point we called it. One of two things is going to happen. He's really going to kill his kid, and he wants him to face it like a man. Or they're setting up a twist ending where he puts in fake bullets and something goes wrong, and he kills him, and he's heartbroken.
We agreed. We both came to the agreement that either way, he's dead. Like this guy's going to die. It's just a matter of how. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, honestly, the next scene is just his execution, where he faces it like a man. He refuses a cigarette, and he refuses a blindfold, and he takes a little thing out of a flask, puts it back in his coat, and then he puts it in there. And then we saw Kirk Douglas loading the bullets in the rifles, and then Dan Aykroyd gives a little sword call, and I was like, fires the bullets, and then holy shit, 2 bullets hit him in the chest, one on the left, one on the right. I don't know what asshole shot him in the right side of the chest. That would.
Didn't he say earlier that 2 of the bullets were going to be real, and then like all the other bullets were fake, or something to that effect? I remember him saying something about. I was just trying to listen. It said something about. It says you have to guess which 2 bullets are actually real, because they use 2 bullets so that the soldiers don't know that they're all blanks.
I always assumed it was just 1 bullet that was real. That's what I always heard, but who knows?
Okay, yeah, I think it was 2, but yeah, he was surprised when 2 both went into him. Yeah,
he wasn't surprised when 2 went into him, because right as he called, Dan Aykroyd's like, fire! They look over and we see Kirk Douglas look away, and then Eric Douglas is like, oh, you fucker! Like, you son of a bitch. After he apologized for being yellow and faced his death with dignity, and apologized to his father.
There's like a big speech, like, I am no longer afraid. I'm going to face my executioner like a man, and all this guy. He's hamming it up. Yeah.
And then he gets shot in the right side of the chest and the left side of the chest. But I was just like, what guy was aiming for the right side of his chest where the heart is not? Like,
Maybe lizard people have two hearts, so you
Is
have
that
to
what it is?
you have to shoot both hearts to kill him.
right
Yeah.
side of the chest, lizard heart. He's going for that. Dan Aykroyd pulled the gun and shot him there. Get his lizard heart. That'll get him. But and pour the Crystal Skull vodka on his fucking chest. That'll get him. No glycol, go right to his soul.
Glycol.
He fucking falls over into like this ditch with a bunch of like mummy-looking dead bodies.
They look like they were wrapped up dead dudes covered in lye.
Yeah, exactly. And they shot him so hard and so well, he flew out of his shoes.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. That was a really nice touch. That's the part where I put my hands up in the air and I'm like, Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Wow. just wow. You know, like
It made sense too because they removed his belt and they removed his shoelaces. He mentioned that. So it made sense that he just flew out of his shoes because they weren't tied to his feet. They're like this loose. When boots are on without a lace, they are loose as hell.
you can
Like,
kick
there's
them right
nothing-
off or walk right out of them. Yeah.
Exactly. So it made sense. So we're just like, that's what we called would happen. But wow, that was fucking awesome. Like that
We were hanging on. Like we're like, this is getting tense. That's usually the part where we're like, fuck this episode. Just get it over with. God damn it. Or here's the part where they're gonna do something really stupid. Just wait for it right now. And then we're like, if they go either this way or that way, I don't care. Like I'm fine with this. This is a nice story. I like this story. Yeah.
Exactly, because at that point it had built up enough goodness and quality that to the point where you're like, you do what you got to do. Episode. I'm just here as an observer, but compared to, I don't know what episode you want to bring up. Any of the previous ones, the fucking voodoo one.
Any one of those voodoo bullshit ones, mystical, magical voodoo bullshit device to carry the plot. Yeah.
Exactly. In that voodoo one, we're just kind of like, it doesn't matter how you end. I'm gonna hate you regardless. It doesn't matter what you do
because you're just gonna bring in some bullshit magic to make things happen, so that we go, ooh, voodoo magic that clearly nobody knows anything about. It's
exactly
like early plot armor, you know.
Because it was at that point, it seems more like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's the twist over the content of the actual production up until the twist. So you're just going, oh, this sucks. This sucks. This sucks. Oh my god, a twist. That was great. That was that was awful. That was awful.
Yeah.
But this one we're going, this is fucking great. This is fucking great. I don't care what they do at this point.
We were surprised because I'm like, Phoenix, we're like 75% of the way through this, and I'm still like into it. Like I didn't even want to talk anymore. I just wanted to like finish watching the episode. I'm like, okay, I'm engaged. What is going on? Am I still watching Tales from the Crypt? I had to convince myself that I'm still watching Tales from the Crypt because all of the ones that I've watched have been bad. I mean, really bad. Some of them kind of good, but all of them definitely bad.
I enjoyed 1/3 of Halfway Horrible, which is really
That's fair. It's probably the same part that I was enjoying too. Like it started off good. Like it had a good start, and yeah, it was a good wind up. And then once you realized it was just, oh, we're doing Psycho. All right.
A couple scene. No, that was not the Psycho one. That was the Voodoo one.
Oh, okay. See, I'm getting them mixed up now. Yeah.
The first third of the Halfway Horrible, the Voodoo one, was fine.
Okay.
Like, because Clancy Brown, I love him, and he's doing stuff, and you're kind of like, okay, where's it going? And then they start introducing the voodoo shit.
And that was one of the things that I was telling you, because it's like I think by season 3 they were just putting actors in these episodes just to like make us interested, because like, well, we know we can't fucking write, so we'll just get whoever the hot actors are at the time, throw them in there, and you'll watch just because they're going to show up in this episode.
It makes you wonder because the show is based on a comic book. How do they not know how it's going to go? How do they not know how it's going to be terrible? How do you not fix that? So many questions I have in real time when they have years to prepare for these. It makes you wonder, how do they still fuck it up? Like the Walking Dead show. How do you fuck that up? Written
Stop
down,
following the comic.
it's great already. Follow the fucking comic and shut the fuck up. Stop doing your own thing. It's already written and people already fucking love it. Shut the fuck up, write the comic.
How long was Tales from the Crypt a comic book? Do you happen to know?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't either.
I don't know much about EC Comics. I really don't. This the whole reason I wanted to do this show for podcast is to discover it. So I'll look into it at some point. This is
Well, I'm not
real time.
after this one. I'm not going to be quite as hesitant to go through it as I was before. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, oh, Tales from the Crypt. I didn't even want to put it on the thumbnail. I was like, let's just make this Twilight Zone.
Yeah, my girlfriend was like, I was telling her about all the episodes we've done, 1 through 10, and she's like, "Oh, I want to watch an episode." I'm like, "I don't want to do that to you." Like, no, I want to watch it. I'm like,
you're not going to feel good about yourself
because it's not good. Like, I don't know how much she would get out of this episode. I'm sure she'd like it, but if we just picked one out of a hat or a fucking bingo hopper, and we watched a real
evil cursed bingo hopper,
not a cartoon episode, I don't know. I wouldn't feel confident enough to go, "You're going to like this show." Because if you ask both of us before this, we talked about this in the last episode we both did together. If someone were to ask, should I watch Tales from the Crypt? I think we both go, do you like shitty movies? Do you like shitty shows? Do you appreciate things that are made and they're not quality? Do you get enjoyment out of watching a B movie? And if the answer is yes, I go, yeah, go ahead and watch Tales from the Crypt then. But if they're like, no, not really, I go, oh, don't watch it then. What are you thinking? Like, no, you see the HBO on there and you're like, oh, I love all HBO shows, but
and it's like B movies with A-list actors too. That's the other surprise. But this episode here was Robert Zemeckis was like, no, fuck that. I'm making something good. I don't care who you are, HBO. I'm doing this shit my way.
And this episode shows exactly what they should have been doing the entire time. And we don't know if there's episodes that are like this. We don't know if they stray away from the bullshit horror. There's no horror in this episode. This is a war episode that features a family dispute settled through a court martial where he shoots his own child. And because he shoots him and he goes, "My son died with dignity. He was brave." And that's where the fucking episode ends. He shoots his own son in the chest, and you're not like, that was spooky. You're just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, it's like, it was no bullshit, no epilogue, no nothing. I liked where it ended. I think that was right where it needed to be. Right with the shot of the boots just sitting there. Yeah.
Perfect ending. I really do think it was a perfect ending to what they had set up.
Yep.
It was great. I really, really enjoyed this episode. It has an 8.3 on IMDb.
Oh, okay. Hey, for the people that are new to my channel, new to your show, you should probably tell people what other stuff Robert Zemeckis directed, because you and I are like into directors, but not everybody always keeps up with that. So, other shows Robert Zemeckis directed.
Well, I have a complicated relationship with Robert Zemeckis. He directed 2 of my favorite movies, Back to the Future 1 and 2. He also did 3. That tells you what 3's like. He directed a movie that shall not be named that won Best Picture in 1994 over The Shawshank Redemption, which features a mentally retarded man going on adventures. And it won over literally my favorite movie. And he also directed Contact. He directed that, right?
I don't remember if he directed Contact, because I went to go see Contact and I hated that fucking movie. I hated that movie.
Jodie Foster sits in a little booth and thinks about going to space and meeting her dad and all this shit. And then Matthew McConaughey smokes a lot of pot on the set. Comes back and goes, "Oh, I didn't go anywhere." And that's where it ends.
It's like trying to set up something intellectual and then just kind of forgets what it's trying to do about halfway through and has nothing else to offer.
He also directed a few other movies I love, which is Used Cars.
I forgot about that one. That's going way back. Yeah.
Another, what's his name? God damn, why can't I think of his name? From The Thing.
Mark Hamill?
No, from The Thing and... Oh my God.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, thank you. God, that was going insane. He also did another great movie that's vastly underrated, Death Becomes Her.
I went and saw that.
That's a good movie. I like that one. And he gets no credit at all. He did Romancing the Stone.
Wow. Yeah, see, I love Romancing the Stone. I do.
One. You know who's in that? This guy's fucking brother.
Michael fucking Douglas. Yeah. That's probably how the connection was made. Yeah, Michael
he also
Douglas
did Beowulf and...
Beowulf is rough, though.
What's that cartoon with Tom Hanks, with the train, the Christmas train?
Oh God. I can't think
Polar
of that.
Express.
Polar Express. There we go. This
I
is
have
what
never
old,
seen that. I will
this
never.
is conversation with old guys at nights. What's the movie with the guy? You know, he was in that thing that
That
we
movie
like.
with that guy. You know,
Oh, fuck it.
he directed What Lies Beneath as well, which is another movie I watched. And 15 minutes in the movie, I go, "This is what's going on." So I had to sit there for another 2 hours while I watched what I predicted happened, and I was like, "I'm so bored. I'm so bored." Harrison Ford is not an actor. Why is he in this movie?
No, he really isn't. You know, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I just recently got done rewatching all of the Raiders movies, the Indiana Jones movies, and he's so lucky that he had that fucking role because literally everything else that I've seen Harrison Ford in, he's not a good actor. He was in a movie that was directed to look like a high budget throwback to serials. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that Spielberg thought he was Humphrey Bogart. He's not.
He's in 2 movie series that are like that: Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Star Wars were made to be exactly the same thing. They were throwback serial movies. He's great for those, but those do not require good actors.
So he's in 6 movies in 2 series. He's also in Apocalypse Now, which he's pretty good in, but he's only in a few minutes of it.
Yes.
He tries. Everything else he's ever done, he seems just like The Fugitive.
The action guy. Yeah. The Fugitive, you can't really give him credit for that
No.
one either because that's Tommy Lee Jones carrying that movie on his back like a backpack.
Yeah, The Fugitive's all right. I like The Fugitive.
I do
but
too.
I don't like. Here's a couple actors I feel the same way about. Bruce Willis, Tom Cruise, where I go, they choose good movies, but I don't go, oh, that Tom Cruise movie was great. I go, that movie was great. Oh, also Tom Cruise is in it.
Fun fact about Tom Selleck is Tom Selleck was originally supposed to be Indiana Jones, and then Marion was supposed to be Sean Young from Blade Runner and Ace Ventura. I'm glad that those two didn't become Indiana Jones and Marion because I actually like Karen Allen quite a bit, and I can't see anybody else doing that.
Karen Allen does a really fucking good job in Raiders.
Yep.
In the 4th one,
she's trying.
Happy to be there.
She's just happy to be there. She's like, it's kind of like John Hurt being in that episode. Totally fucking unnecessary.
Yeah. But anyway, let's
Yep. Back to Tales from the Crypt.
We don't have to go all the way back to Tales from the Crypt. We're talking about Zemeckis.
Zemeckis, yeah.
I just pulled up his IMDb. Okay.
Very talented man. Yeah.
A bunch of movies I haven't seen: The Walk, Flight, A Christmas Carol, Castaway, which I have seen and do enjoy. That is a good movie.
That's a good movie. Yep.
And then he did I Want to Hold Your Hand, and his newest movie I really actually do want to watch from 2 years ago, Welcome to Marwin. That looks pretty good.
I heard things about that one. You might want to be careful.
I don't care. I still want to watch it.
You will, and nobody will stop you.
Yeah. I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks.
Did you see if producer credit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2? Is that really going to be a thing?
Probably not.
Fuck.
Probably not.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, he also directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yep, that's also a good one.
But it's good, not great. That's one we should say that would be a good movie for Never Go Back.
Yep, probably not as good as we remember.
I watched it 4 or 5 years ago, and I went, oh, like Christopher Lloyd's good in it, but other than that, it's fucking Bob Costas just doesn't want to be there. He wants to be drunk. And
since this show is new to the channel, I should probably preface it by there are things that you remember as a kid. They're fucking awesome. They're great because you remember them as a kid. It was a thing.
Nostalgia.
But have you watched it recently?
Yeah. Goonies.
Oh,
doesn't hold up. Does not hold up.
Do you realize that in Goonies, all they do is scream over top of each other through the entire fucking movie, and you can't make out anything that anybody's saying?
There's a lot of 80s movies with children where they just scream over each other. And then you watch Stranger Things, and they're like, we're going for an 80s callback.
Do you realize that this stream is going to get 15 thumbs down because I said I don't like Goonies? And I don't fucking care. People just go on and on about how great Goonies is. And I'm like, have you watched it recently? Really?
Richard Donner directed Goonies. He also produced Tales from the Crypt. So this is relevant.
Yeah.
So Richard Donner knew kids. He those kids, and he just kind of went, here's a script, here's a loose script. Go ahead and yell over each other like real kids do. Nowadays, like Stranger Things is trying to do an 80s flashback to Goonies and things like that, but the kids are all sarcastic and witty, and Goonies are just like, and they're yelling over each other and they're swearing, and it's very realistic.
It's like everybody ate a bowl of sugar and action, you know.
And then Corey Feldman was, this guy touched me. This guy touched me. Oh God. Oh, you're gonna be my angel. This guy touched me. This guy touched me.
That was a deep cut right there, and I love it.
There was like 15 different references right there. But
scientists are going to be dissecting that little segment right there, trying to peel it apart. Like, holy shit, that guy went meta.
Yeah, Corey Feldman has something going on.
Fuck you, Corey Feldman. Fuck you, buddy. Seriously.
How about you wait till you're 45 and then you start talking about all this shit?
Yeah, start throwing shit on people that can't defend themselves.
Exactly. You wait till Michael's dead. You wait till Corey Haim is dead, and you're just like, I'm gonna talk about everybody that's dead.
And then the whole thing on pay-per-view.
And can I just say, a pay-per-view on his website.
On his website
fucking crashed and got hacked immediately in real time while he's live streaming it. It gets hacked in real time. That's fucking incredible, but not the point. Point is, I forgot where the fuck we're going with this. Are we talking about Corey
Robert Zemeckis? Yeah.
Fuck Corey Feldman.
Yeah, fuck him.
Stop making music. That's where I was gonna go. Stop making music. You fucking suck at it. You're fucking embarrassing. I don't even care if you don't care that you're not embarrassing yourself. If you don't feel shame, I get it. I feel that same way. But please, I'm also saying, please stop.
There's a fine line between don't give up and find something else. Okay.
Your career should hang itself in the driveway, some like below the basketball hoop above your garage. I'm
surprised he can't get a job selling. If you could get a job selling shake weights or something, I think he'd have it made. You know, like the infomercial circuit maybe might save him.
I just don't. How do you? Can you imagine the living hell of being Corey Feldman? I really do agree the kids had a rough life. Like, I really think that's true. But also at the same time, I'm like, shut the fuck up about it and stop making music. Those two things, and then you fuck off to where the fuck you need to go.
You know, he did an episode of Marriage Boot Camp, and he had the audacity to complain about that show being bad. I'm like, dude, have you seen any of your music videos ever? I show them people to get them to talk. Okay, like it's a medieval torture device.
Yeah, the video where he's walking around his house and like Sean Astin's in there.
I know which one you're talking about.
We're doing a Goonies throwback. You get it? Anyway,
it's called Extinction Millennium. There's something like that. Yeah, it's Ascension Millennium. That's the name of the song. Millennium.
And he also did a live video on, I forget what the fuck show it was, but it was embarrassing.
So the one where he's dancing, something about trust. Yeah. I like showing that to people, and then they get angry at me and they block me on Facebook.
I showed that to the girlfriend instead of Tales from the Crypt, and she goes,
"You're done."
She's like, "Why are you? What are you showing me?" It was like I assaulted her.
Next thing you know, she's packing up her shit and taking your keys off of her ring and throwing them on the counter. That's the last you ever saw of her. Fuck you, Corey Feldman.
The breakup note just says, "Well, the reasons are like you're an asshole. Number 2, Corey Feldman," and then the rest is like just a signature from her. And I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Can't argue with those reasons. I get it.
I'll never watch Lost Boys the same way ever again.
I'll never watch Lost Boys again. I'm already there. It's an okay movie. That's a movie where I watch, I go, you should never go back. I don't get it. The Saxon guy, no thank you. So I guess we're done with this Tales from the Crypt episode, right?
We're in utter shock that this was actually good. That effort was put into this. Definitely a budget. I don't know how they got the funding for this, but it was worth it. And I'm hoping that there are others like this out there. And if you're watching this for the first time and you've seen Tales from the Crypt, and you know that there's an episode as good as this one, please tell us which one it is.
Yeah.
Yellow. You should put like a little star on that one.
I'm gonna throw it away, but
Okay, well, or do
I
that.
throw them away when I'm done. I don't save them.
Just roll it up and smoke it. Whatever.
Yeah, smoke the ink and the dye that's in the cardboard.
I'm sure
yeah,
it won't hurt you. Yeah.
let's say great episode. We've done 11 episodes of this. Adam has been on most of them. The only ones I've done by myself are the cartoon episodes. And this is the first really good episode I would recommend watching. Go ahead and watch this episode. Probably should have said it at the beginning so you don't get it spoiled. But
Yeah.
even if it was spoiled for me, I still would have enjoyed it because it was.
Yeah. Watching and knowing how the story unfolds isn't going to like sour the experience for you. I really don't think so. I
don't look at what the plot's about. Like before we started recording, I went and I go, "Oh, it's directed by Zemeckis and it stars these people," and I didn't look at the plot because I don't want to know. I want to. The purpose of this show, unlike the Twilight Zone show that we do, which we're doing right after this, is I want to go in blind and be caught off guard, either one way, great or bad, which is where 10 out of 11 have been bad, where I want to be surprised one way or the other. And I want to be like, oh, wow, this is what the Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt is, or oh, Tales from the Crypt.
Remember, we were thinking that we were all excited because Halfway Horrible had Clancy Brown. It had Martin Cove, who plays, Kreese from the Karate Kid, the Cobra Kai leader.
Yeah.
And it had Charles Martin Smith, who plays the guy with the glasses and the pipe from the Untouchables. That's where you might know him from. Or you might remember him as the FBI guy from Starman. So here's a show that's, Clancy Brown, full of all these fantastic actors. Cheech Marin was in it. Yeah. Still not good.
From Shawshank, which the director of this fucking episode beat with that fucking movie. I'll never forget the Academy for. I hated that decision so much. I created a thing on LIWstudios.com where it's called, I forget what it says on the website. It's one of the few things on there. It's not a show related, where it's like the best picture winners or something like that, like LIW favorite movies or something like that, where I pick a best winner for every year going back to the 30s or 20s because of the fucking Academy choosing, I'll say it, Forrest Gump in 1994 over Shawshank Redemption.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Novelty movie at best. It's good.
The Academy specializes in disappointing fellows like us. We'll just leave it at that.
So if you want to check out what movies I think are the best for every single year, go ahead and go to liwstudios.com. But Adam, let's choose next week's episode that will.
Oh dear God!
Here, unless it's a cartoon, in which case I'll do it on my own. But then at the end of that cartoon episode, I'll review what we're going to do live next week, and we'll announce it on our different channels.
Or if you choose the cartoon, we could always just say 62, since you never found the fucking ball. So we could always go that route.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't lie. I'm not a liar.
You have no reason to lie. Why would you lie about something like that? You lie about shooting the Germans with a 6-shooter. All 12 Germans with 6 bullets. Exactly. That's what you lie about.
So let's. I'm drawing the episode now, live on camera, and then we'll talk about what we drew, and then you want to do your. I dropped the ball right away.
Now you'll never find that one.
Found it.
Oh, hey, he saved it. All right.
All right. I haven't looked what it is yet. It is 063, which is one after the one I lost.
No, that's fucking creepy.
Okay. So go ahead and do your plugs.
I'm not going to plug anything. This is my channel. Yeah. This is really nothing for me
podcast,
to plug.
though. Go ahead and do your plugs.
Okay. So you can find me on www.raidersofthelostflicks.com. On Twitter, on Raiders_OTLF. I review bad movies and pop culture related news. I also have a live Friday show where we watch bad movies and live, where you can watch them with us and then we review them directly afterwards. So check that out.
Frank was right. He says $10 Phoenix drops this ball.
Well, this ball's got to drop someday. I mean, puberty sometimes hits some people later than others. It's okay.
It though. Anyway, I prefer people before they get to puberty. But so tomorrow or next week's episode is going to be. This is interesting. Season 7, the last season. 705 Horror in the Night. It's a horror with an H, not a W, unfortunately. So
because sometimes they have boobies, but sometimes it doesn't even fucking matter if they have boobies. Boobies can't save everything.
Here's the best compliment I can give this episode. We watched it. I wasn't looking for swearing or nudity or gore. I was just invested for 40 solid minutes going, what's going to happen next? Oh, this is probably what's going to happen. But I still want to watch that happen. And then it happened, and we go, that was fucking awesome. The way they did it. Zemeckis fucking killed this episode. I love this episode.
It had just enough gore in it, but it was not designed to be a horror episode by any stretch of the means. It was just a very well-crafted episode that could have been made for any fucking TV show. It just happened to wind up on Tales from the Crypt. And
I mentioned during our commentary, it feels more like a Twilight Zone episode than Tales from the Crypt. If this is a solid Twilight Zone episode, really is. I really did love it. But so next week, 7:05, Horror in the Night. I know nothing about it. I made a poster for it. I have no idea. We'll find out what that is when I get there. But let's. Any other parting words? Any lessons learned from Yellow?
I think the lesson that I learned is when you have a director that has even a modest budget and gives a shit and gets everybody on board, you get stuff like this. We don't get enough stuff like this anymore. We need to. And something else I'll throw in there is a plug that's kind of related to this. I was watching all the extras on the Raiders of the Lost Ark Blu-ray. Okay. And George Lucas, who wrote that story, wanted to write a throwback movie in 1981 to the old serials. Yeah. Which is how I came up with Star Wars. He says, and I quote, "They don't make movies like this anymore. When I grew up in the 80s, I didn't think movies would ever get bad. I thought everything would just constantly get better and better and better and better. I didn't realize I grew up in the golden age of film." But that is proof that sometimes you can go back and make something new and make it work. Yeah. You have to have somebody that has the talent to do it, though. And Zemeckis is one of those guys.
Yeah, I like Zemeckis. I have a love-hate with him. I'm going to say I have a love relationship with him. I don't hate anything he's done. Some of his projects, like he does for kids, and I'm like, eh.
I'm the same way with Spielberg, man. Like there's a lot of stuff I like by Spielberg, and then there's always Lincoln, and it's like, whatever.
I haven't seen a Spielberg movie. I swore off him since Indiana Jones 4. I was in the theater and I went, I'm done with him. And I literally haven't of his since 2008. And I stuck by it, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of his movies that I did not watch, and I just not really in a big hurry to watch them because a lot of them are just topics that don't really interest me. So
all of his newest Tom Hanks movies, I'm like, oh, that was boring as shit. No, I love Tom Hanks. I love you, but no, I'm done. 2008, I want to watch Ready Player One, but I swore off him. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I watched it. It's okay. It's all right. It's very, very middle of the road movie.
Okay, I'm not missing anything.
Painfully mediocre.
Watch, fucking BFG or Tintin or any of that bullshit. Like, no, thank you, Spielberg. But
it's one of those movies where it's like, oh look, pop culture references, and then people get all excited and think they saw something great.
Speaking of Back to the Future, that movie. But let's just say I do want to mention, like, I'd be pissed off if I didn't mention the Stanley Kubrick movie Paths of Glory. Has Kirk Douglas. It's about World War I. Very similar vibes to that movie. You could tell Zemeckis watched that movie and went, I want to make a Twilight or Tales from the Crypt episode about that. Very similar to that episode, to that movie, because that movie is very similar to this episode. I won't give any spoilers, but I'm just going to say very, very, very similar. Check out Paths of Glory from Stanley Kubrick in 1957. It's one of his first movies, but it is fucking solid. It is a great movie. And if you like that movie, you'll love this episode, and vice versa. It fucking stands up. I love we mentioned this before. I love character-driven pieces.
It doesn't matter what, and we've discussed this too. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It can be a Western, a World War II show, a noir film. If it's got very good character development, porn, yeah, absolutely.
I'll watch porn if it has great
I've seen a couple of good ones. Believe it or not. But yeah, if it's character driven, like last night I watched Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and I'd never seen that before. That's very character driven.
Yeah,
fucking John Hughes movie. It's great.
John Huston.
Was it Houston or Hughes? Houston. You're correct. Yeah, not
John
yeah.
Hughes is a midget.
Hughes is the Breakfast Club guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Houston. I meant to say Houston.
It'd be really weird if John Hughes did.
Houston has a little cameo in it too at the beginning. So
yeah, he's a good actor too. But check out that movie. It's from 1957. But if you're listening to this show, you're into the older stuff. So go ahead and check out that movie. It holds up. It's really fucking good. It's one of my favorite Kubrick movies, honestly. It's very underrated. Nobody ever talks about that as a Kubrick movie because it's pre him being a perfectionist, but it still has that like Kirk Douglas is walking down the trenches and you still have that like centered in the middle Kirk Douglas and the cameras, dialing back, and it's still it looks like a Kubrick movie.
And now that you just described that scene, I think I know that movie now. I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips from it.
Good.
Yeah, I have to
really
watch it.
Good. So check that out. You already did your plugs, right? You're finished
there? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And this is just for the podcast, not for the YouTube feed. But for me, LIWstudios.com. Check out the different shows. Check out the podcast on there, different video shows as well. Also, Loitering In Wonderland on YouTube. And LIW Studios on Twitter. LIW the TZ Review. For Frank, go to Way Off Topic Radio. Search for that podcast and go to reddragonsradio.com. And Frank's not here, obviously, but I'll do his plugs because he's in the chat.
In remembrance of Frank.
Yeah, R.I.P. So next week we're doing 705 Horror in the Night. Nothing else I want to say really. I learned that sometimes your sons are dicks and you should shoot them in the chest twice. That's what I learned.
Lie to them first and then do it.
Yeah, that is a badass power move, right?
If you want your kids to do what you want them to do, fucking lie to them.
This is a good time. Real quick, I love power moves. Like whenever I watch a movie, me and my girlfriend are watching a movie, I sit there and I go, "That's a fucking power move," and she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh yeah." Like I get like a mental hard on. I'm like, I will never do that, but that's why I like it because I'm like, "Oh, that is a manly fucking move." Like,
so you enjoy that movie, A Few Good Men, because there's some power moves in that one too.
That movie's more of a dick measuring contest. I like when it's a power move, she was watching some stupid show that she hated called You, with the guy from Gossip Girl, and he's like a weird stalker, and he's trying to get this girl to fall in love with him. She eventually does, but one of her friends she hands her something. So the hoity-toity friend hands the main character something, and the main character grabs it, and she goes, "Oh, no reason to thank me." And the friend's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "That's a fucking power move." Like, why would you say that? There was no reason to thank you because you gave what? She didn't ask for it. Like, it makes more sense when you watch it, obviously, but I mean, that was a fucking power move right there. That is cold. I love that sort of shit. Anyway, until next time, in the meantime, I'm Phoenix West.
I am Adam Wilcox.
So long, citizens. All right, that's the end of the podcast. We're still live.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a little potty break, change our sets, and then we're going to come back for Twilight Zone. So we'll be back in, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
5 minutes, guys. So
however long it takes to save this,
I'm going to put this up right here.
I'll be back. 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 Ich was schwarz. Body now. Be right back, you two.
Okay, I'm here. Good to go?
1 second. Let me turn off the AC. Okay, great.
You turn off the AC. I didn't know how long you were going to be gone.
It's right there. No, I had to. I live in Phoenix, so I had to turn off. I had to put on the AC the second I could and turn off the last second before I. It's I just need to test the audio real quick, make sure it's saved.
It gets like real cold at night out there, right? And it's like real hot during the day and then real cold at night.
I wish it was real cold at night.
Mm.
Not that kind of desert. That's like Saudi Arabia.
I know it's like that in. I know some people that live in. Thing about that, the front. What the fuck's it called?
For in the nights, trying to get this girl to fall in love with. Okay.
Albuquerque.
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 All right, I am recording, so I guess as soon as you're ready there, we are good to go.
I am good to go.
Oh, is that it? We're just live again?
Yeah.
I expected like a theme song intro. Let me play.
Oh, you'll have to make one. When you make a theme song, then we can do that.
Okay. This is not the one I want to play. This is the one.
You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, dark territory.
I know she's not deaf or dumb or retarded or anything.
Loitering in Wonderland, the Twilight Zone review.
Hello, citizens. Welcome to LIW, the Twilight Zone review, episode 165 for 509 Probe 7 over and out. I am Phoenix West, joined by
Adam Wilcox.
Sorry, I threw a curveball in there by saying joined by. My bad. I don't plan anything out. I just do.
That's the beauty of live streaming, baby.
Watch the beautiful visage of my face, and you interpret when I'm pausing for you to speak. It's so unfair. But today we are sans Frank. We are with Adam, and we're for the best, right? I think we're in the best shape we've ever been. We're live on YouTube. We don't have Frank. There's no anchors. We can continue to go across the ocean. Just keep going. Frank's not like throwing out fucking anchors, like pulling us back. Like, hey, let's talk about science and the moon. We just keep going. I'm only saying this because he's listening right now.
He's like right in the chat, dude.
No, that's why I'm doing this. But Adam, today is Probe 7 over and out, and you have a fitting name for this episode. I wish my name was Phoenix Eve. So we have a romantic entwinement here, but here we are, Phoenix and Adam.
Yeah, well,
I let it down. Sorry. Should we go look for someone named Eve on here?
I've never met anyone named Eve, surprisingly. It would seem that maybe I should meet somebody named Eve, but
You have to.
never met one. I don't think I've ever even known an Eve passingly. So
Not a common name.
No, it isn't.
No.
Neither is Genevieve. That's kind of really not a popular name anymore either.
Genevieve? I know one.
Yeah. She's probably really old, right?
No.
Okay. Most of the Genevieves I've ever met are like really old ladies that like live in a nursing home.
She's probably 40.
Okay. Yeah, she's pretty old.
No, that's not.
I'm
As much as
46.
Well, as much as we pretend like 46 is really old, it's not.
No,
It's middle aged.
it is, but it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody's naming their kids that anymore. We'll say
No.
that. But this episode, let's get into this episode. I need to move my shit around here so I can actually look at my notes. Because this episode I watched about, I'd say, 4 hours ago. And I kind of forgot what it was. And
There's a reason for that.
it's just an episode you watch. Like, how disappointed was I last week when we talked about it on the last episode, whatever the fuck that was. And I was like, oh, it's that Adam and Eve episode. I knew then our first live YouTube episode would be a fucking bore. Then I watched the episode. I go, oh, it's really going to be a bore because I have almost nothing to say about this episode. It is so middle of the road, boring.
Yes, it's what's fun about this is the contrast between this and the last show that we just watched.
Oh,
both of those are very simple concepts. One of them is done perfectly. This concept is literally all it has to offer.
Yeah, and it's a concept that's revealed at minute 24 and a half at the 25 episode. Like out of a 25-minute show, it's revealed last minute. And just like, anyway, get the fuck out of here. And even
this is a part where we're supposed to go, what?
Yeah. And even Rod Serling's like, oh, is it this or not? It doesn't matter. Anyway, bye. Get the fuck out of here. Bye.
Smoke a cigarette. Do a shot. Go rub himself in some Vaseline and play in the freeway. Yeah.
Exactly. It's an episode that is just there for novelty's sake. It's what I would say is it's a novelty episode. It has nothing to it. It's like trying to buy something great out of like a 99-cent store. And you're kind of like, oh, this is okay. Like it works, but it's
trying to buy anything off a Wish. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Wish episode of the episode called 2. I think it's like episode 301. And but at least that had Charles Bronson, and it had a little bit of war shit and like weird propaganda. This one just has a guy talking to his blank TV, and then he gets physically abused by a woman outside, but the motherfucker keeps going outside and getting abused. And I'm like, just stay inside, dude. Let her fucking go.
Can I just say that this guy is the absolute worst astronaut, even for like a bad like TV science fiction episode?
He might be. I think he's the worst because, okay, I guess we should set up this episode.
Yeah, set it up so they know what we're talking about.
Yes. So the guy his name is Adam Cook. He crash landed on a spaceship, and he has a uniform with zero insignifications on where he's from. And he's talking to a TV, and the guy's like, he's from his planet, and he's like, which if you just heard what I said, how far I had to go out of my way to do it, you just realize what the end of the episode is. He's like, oh, our planets might be fucked, dude. But I love the fact that at the beginning of the episode, he goes, probe 7 to base, probe 7 to base. And base finally shows up on the screen and goes, probe 7, this is base. And I'm like, why are you saying it like that, you snarky fuck? He said it so weird.
I think that was that weird sci-fi speak from the 50s is what that was. Like whenever they were doing sci-fi, they had to be like, probe 17 to base, come in, over. Like they really got into their walkie-talkie speak.
The way you said it, though, makes sense. I'm saying the inflection. He didn't go, probe 7, this is base. Inflection on base. He goes, probe 7, this is base.
It was very obviously awkwardly filmed in two different places.
Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Of course, this is base, motherfucker.
No, this is Baskin Robbins. The fuck did you think this was?
This is the Haagen-Dazs by the I-17 off the freeway there. What's going on there? What can I help you with? Like, I'm looking for a NASA base. And he's like,
It's the Bada Bing strip club. Who the fuck are you, Paulie Walnuts or something?
This is the fucking Bada Bing base. What the fuck do you want? You want me to say you want a free base out in the parking lot? That's what Joey's doing right now. He's got to get back in his shift in 7 minutes. I'm not covering him another one. He already covered him for 3 times this week, motherfucker. Like what the fuck is going on? Why is base so fucking snarky? They work for NASA, I assume, or whatever version of NASA. The guy's not.
These people he works for are assholes, man.
I didn't realize how fucking angry I was going to be till right now. This is what we mentioned earlier. We were talking in text before the show. I don't know why the guy's so fucking snarky. Why he's like, yeah, this is base, motherfucker. Why you just get to the point already? You got me. What do you want? What do you want to do? Why are we talking over a video radio? Why is there video on this place? How advanced is this place? Not Earth, by the way. It's not Earth.
See, he's crash landed on some fucking planet, and base is just not cooperating with him at all because they're in the middle of a war on the planet he comes from.
Yep. He landed. Oh, I'll let Rod describe it here in a second.
Oh, cool.
But the ship is fucked. He's like, oh, the ship isn't working. I can't really fix it because I have a broken arm and a sling. I'm 57 years old. I don't really have that much, stamina to fix a fucking entire.
He's an astronaut with a beer gut.
Yeah, I don't really. And I mentioned he mentions later. I don't. What's he say? I don't have the proclivity for isolation or being solitary confinement. I'm like, then why did you agree to be the
you
one
became an
astronaut?
astronaut?
You're one astronaut in a pod, dude, going several million miles away from your planet. Why the fuck are you doing this then? If that's your fear.
How did he get the job? Did he just answer an ad in the fucking column in the newspaper, like the one ads? He's like, well, astronaut, fucking nobody else will do it. So pays really shitty, but it's got good benefits. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm scared of tarantulas, but I will never respond to a Craigslist ad where it's like, get dunked in a tank of tarantulas for 30 cents an hour. And I'll be like, yeah. And then I'll bitch about it. Yeah, it's great. No, I'm gonna stay the fuck away from that. I'm probably gonna call the cops on that dude because why do you have so many tarantulas to fill a tank? You got something else going on there I don't want to be a part of. What the fuck? See, this is the difference between me hating something and me liking something. So the last episode had a very different vibe of Tales from the Crypt.
You never know where these are gonna go.
Yeah. But let's just get to Rod's intro here, and then we'll break that down here. I don't know how queued up this is because I don't have subtitles on, but let's see where it is. All right, a little early. No big deal, right? NBD. He's about to kick in here, Mr. Sterling. He's trying to fix his fucked up ship.
One Colonel Cook, a traveler in space. He's landed on a remote planet several million miles from his point of departure. He can make an inventory of his plight by just one 360-degree movement of head and eyes. Colonel Cook has been set adrift in an ocean of space in a metal lifeboat that has been scorched and destroyed and will never fly again. He survived the crash, but his ordeal is yet to begin. Now he must give battle to loneliness. Now Colonel Cook must meet the unknown. It's a small planet set deep in space, but for Colonel Cook, it's the Twilight Zone.
Spooky, spooky. So he's in space. He's several million miles away. I guess it's was it Alpha Centauri or whatever the fuck that is? That's what that.
If he said where he was, I did not pick up on it. I was kind of hoping maybe he would give it. He's like, well, I'm exactly so many light years away from the outside of my galaxy. So yeah, you're probably right. Where you were
supposed to be 5.3 light years.
I'm glad you were doing the math on that because I'm just like, okay, so you're
IMDb trivia did the work for me.
you're in interstellar bumfuck Egypt. Got it.
And if I could be so bold, Frank's not here, so we don't have to deal with a bunch of scientific nada bullshit. Blah blah blah. He's this many miles away. The trajectory, blah blah blah, and he's blah blah blah. And I read this article where blah blah blah. Love you, Frank. We don't have to deal with that though. This is what you get when you don't show up. Okay, this is what you deal with when you're not here. Punctuality is very important for a podcast, and we are. I don't want to say struggling with you. I think we're flourishing, but you're not here, so we're gonna make fun of you. That's gonna happen. Here he is. I was coaxing him out when he finally ducked his head out from the bush on this planet of Earth. I hate this fucking episode. I don't hate it.
I mean, I'm glad that you don't like this episode because we were kind of joke. We try not to like reveal our reviews of the episode before we do the show. Like, try to save all that for the podcast, right? So I'm like, if he likes this one, I'm like, I really don't really have a lot to grasp onto here. So go ahead, continue setting it up.
Well, if I did like it, I would say it. But I like parts of it, like him having to deal with the situation. It's not. Frank said, "LOL, it's not fault I'm not there," whatever that means. Do with that what you will, dyslexic people who listen to the show. But I will just say, it's not. I like part of this episode. I like when he's in his ship. I like that he's fucked, and I like that he has to explore this planet. But I don't like where it goes because I don't. It doesn't matter to me, and it doesn't.
Okay, his ship is cool on the inside. On the outside, it looks exactly like that shit that Marvin Martian rides around in. But on the inside, it looks cool because it at least looks like believable technology for the time. There's a lot of wires hanging out. I like that they went out of their way to have like little things sparking and shit.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And on the outside, it looks like a bunch of cardboard slapped together, like some fucking shack and
Paper mache, dude.
Jamaica
Paper
or
mache.
something, like some slum somewhere. And he
It's
crawls
such a-
out there like some fucking chud baby, and he's like, "Nah, where's the humans I can
It
fuck?"
looked like that thing was having birth, and he just kind of shat out of the fucking
Yeah,
bed.
and it's weird. And he comes out, and he's just like, he's so ineffective on everything, and he's so low key that he's like a bass note you can't hear. The way he talks is like through his fucking lips in his mouth, and he's clearly dubbed over.
He's always angry too. He's like a real asshole to his superiors. Like if I talked to my boss like that, I would have been fired years ago.
The way he talks to the Eve character is, I'm gonna say really negative shit to you, but since you can't understand me, I'm gonna say it really calmly. I mean, it won't matter that what I'm saying. It's kind of like if someone I was speaking to someone that didn't speak English, I'm like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit. That's great. Yeah. Oh, you're a real ugly bitch, aren't you? That's great." But I'm smiling, and it looked like I'm friendly, but I'm saying the most vain, or the most vicious shit to this person's face. Because he's going, "Ain't that man? We're all horrible. Humans are fucked. We're not human, but people like me are garbage creatures, and men and women don't get along. It's your vagina that's causing you to punch me in the face and throw a loaf of bread at my head that looks like a rock." Yep.
The only cool thing is she did at least scratch him and leave fucking marks on the side of his face. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I guess let's get there.
Yeah, let's just get there. This is going to be. I mean, this show is fucking ancient as shit. So it's not got the gist is he crash lands on this planet. They're Adam and Eve. That's the fucking episode. That's really it. And everything hangs on that. And they're not terribly clever about getting there.
No, it's boring as hell. I like when he's talking to Earth, or what we think is Earth, because the whole premise is we think he came from Earth, which is just like the Invaders and episodes like that.
Right. That's when it's still at least trying to be clever, but it kind of gives up on that a little too soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, the first half of the episode is just him talking to the planet, Houston as we think of it, and Houston's like, "Oh, what's he say? He says a quote like, "If we have war within the next few hours," and I'm like, "If you have war within the next," that is a very specific timeline to have war, and
the entire seaboard in exactly 12 minutes. Like,
the guy's,
you stop to look at your stopwatch.
He's got powers because it happens, and the next time he leaves the ship and he comes back in and he talks to him a little bit more, and then Houston, Space Houston, is like, "There's bombs that landed 400 miles from the base, so we assume we're going to get blown up." And so it's just like the war or the bombs are coming closer and closer to Mystery Houston, where the fuck this takes place.
All this is done in exposition too. You don't like hear any air raid sirens going off or see anything shaking. He's just explaining everything. Now they're going to do that. You may as well have been watching War of the Worlds on a radio. Yes. I mean, since that was clever. Yeah.
You don't have Orson Welles to describe.
Yeah, that was, at least that had Orson Welles. Yeah.
This had, okay, I'm getting the position here. The bombs have landed 400 miles away. We fear they might land near us soon. So you're probably on your own. So you might be the only human left. It's breaking up, Adam. We can't see you. Fucking that boring, that flat. Just nothing happening. And then one time, if you notice, one guy walks back behind the guy in the background. And that's it. That's the most they could spur for that scene. Was one guy going, "We're on the clipboard walking by." I was like, "Oh God, it's so boring."
You know what this reminded me of? This is almost like the exact opposite of that Ridley Scott movie, The Martian, where, what's his name? Matt Damon is just like way too super resourceful and a go-getter and just absolutely refuses to give up. But it's not a bad movie because you're with it because you see the guy's at least trying. This guy here, he gave up like within seconds of making the first phone call. I mean,
yeah.
He's got a sling over his arm. He's like, hey, everything's all fucked up. I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm a terrible astronaut.
To be fair, Matt Damon's thing exploded. He wasn't like in a crash. He was already on Mars established. This guy crash landed, so I get it. So he does.
But at least Matt Damon's endeavor to persevere is like, unmatched. This guy here, it's like, it's amazing he gets out of bed in the morning without stabbing himself.
Yeah, Matt Damon was like, I'm going to live no matter fucking what. I'm going to science the shit out of this. I think it's a quote. I'm going to make
what he said. Yep.
I'll make my turd potatoes. I'll live off my own diarrhea potatoes.
Potatoes.
And then I'm going to survive no matter fucking what. And this guy's like, well, I got a sprain in my elbow, so I don't have a shotgun here to blow my brains out. What do you want me to do, NASA? What do you want me to How do I hang myself with the sling? And he's like, luckily he doesn't have like Suicide for Dummies in front of him.
Emergency suicide kit.
Yeah, he'd be dead. Like
it's got like a little baggie of Tide Pods in there. Just eat them.
He's got like the abortion machine from Prometheus, and he just jumps in there. He's like, what can you do about a 53-year-old abortion? What can you do about that? Is there anything you can do retroactively? Do I have to override your commands? And that, because it seems like he's given up completely, but the guy on Earth, or the planet as they call it, is going, you're the only one that's going to live. We're all going to die. So really, this is best case scenario for you. We just wish we sent you off with some warm hole you could fuck to breed new people. Because
look, Deus Ex Machina.
What, are you going to fuck the wall right now? Because I deposit your sperm into the wall and hopefully someone comes along and slips on that shit and gets pregnant. Because that's the plan as of now. So go find what you can fuck on that planet and just like throw it in whatever. You find a tree that can be pregnant by you, go ahead and fuck it. Because I have no other plan, dude. But anyway, bye. We're getting bombed.
Yeah, some of the explanation is really bad. But what really started to make me angry very early on in this episode was he hears a noise outside. And rather than try to exercise any kind of caution, and I was having flashbacks to yet another, I'm going to make another movie reference. Have you ever seen Robin Crusoe on Mars?
No, that is on my list to watch.
Way better Martian way better astronaut than this fucking guy. Because he's like, hello, anybody? Come and shoot me. Come and rape me in the face and impregnate me with aliens. Hello.
And bring along my robot doppelganger where I'll fight in the like 7th franchise sequel of it.
I've been here for all of 23 minutes and I don't want to be here alone.
I could be on this planet alone for the rest of my life, and I probably wouldn't even notice. This guy's like, I just crash landed. I haven't talked to anybody about nonsense in 23 minutes, and it's over. I'm gonna hang myself.
This guy goes from 0 to absolute fuck it in like seconds, man. It's hard to rally behind this guy at all, and it's embarrassing because he shares the same name as me. Damn it, he gives Adams all over the world a bad name. Fuck this guy.
That's saying a lot, considering.
So, the funniest part is he says hello, and then all of a sudden he gets hit right in the head with a fucking rock, and he falls down. I laughed pretty hard when that part happened because I wanted to throw the rock myself.
He barely gets down a hill, a slight hill.
Falls down the hill like he may as well have been wearing high heels.
He basically went like downhill skiing in his shoes, like just slid down the dirt. And then he's like, because he heard the noise, he went outside. And I did where I would hit play and pause like within seconds, like because I wanted to see what the fuck hit him.
I had to back up too. I'm so glad you said that because I'm like, wait a minute, how did he get hurt this time? Like, did somebody shoot him or because they play that dramatic sting like dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
you know.
But I was going like this, where I'm texting you beforehand, trying to set this all up, and I was like, "Oh, this okay? He's down. What the fuck?" And I rewound and I play, pause, play, pause, play, pause, and I was like, "That looks like a piece of bread." And I'm like, "This guy's so fucking weak and willing to die. He's like, I'm gonna get knocked out by bread, like a good hearty rye bread."
Death by croutons, oversized croutons.
4-day-old rye bread's gonna knock me out because I have given up on living. And Matt Damon's over here making turd potatoes and living, and this guy can't do goddamn thing. He barely got down that little slight decline of dirt, and then he gets knocked out by a piece of fucking sourdough bread, and then he just wakes up back up and goes back inside and talks to fucking NASA again, and then because that's all he doesn't go like, who the fuck. He's just like, hey, oh, nobody's there. And then he hears the recording about basically the planet he came from going, oh, we're fucked. Don't give in the hate. Anyway, bye.
Messages, references. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he hears a noise outside, goes out again. He does like a little girly jaunt where he's like, and he runs up to someone, finds out it's a girl, and she's got a little mud on her face. And then he grabs her by the goddamn leg and like drags her like a caveman, like he's mine now. And he drags her back wherever the hell he is. And then I don't know what he was gonna do to her.
The only thing he was missing was that Flintstone Club. Like,
yeah, I rape now. That's what it seemed like to me. Instead, he's like, let's have a conversation about how we don't understand each other and therefore can't have a conversation. But let's have a conversation nonetheless. I didn't understand anything because it was so fucking pointless because he's speaking English. Obviously, for us, the viewer, we speak English here in America. Don't know if you know that or not. But she's speaking literally backwards English. I don't know if you caught that, Adam. The words
I picked up on that, and I was also having flashbacks to yet another better episode of this where, you'll probably remember the name of it because you're better at the names of Star Trek Next Generation episodes. It's one of my favorites. It's the one where it's literally just Picard and this one guy trying to understand what each other is saying. Like it sounds like he speaks in like fragments or, I
don't know the name of the episode.
Damn it! But you know which one I'm talking about, right? It's
I know the episode. I don't. Star Trek Next Generation. I don't know the episode names.
Okay, you're a little bit better with the older ones, but yeah, somebody in the comment section will probably remind me of which episode that was. But I always write it down and then I fucking forget about it anyway because, like I said, I'm terrible at names. But the entire episode is Picard and this guy. This guy is injured and he's trying to tell Picard about his traditions, and Picard's trying to tell him, and they start off enemies, realizing they don't understand each other, and the whole thing is about learning to communicate. It's like what he says, they speak in like fragments, and it sounds like gibberish to us, but that's their language, and
yeah, there's a movie called 13. Oh, what the fuck is the name of that movie? With the Spanish sex hunk from the 90s.
The 13th Warrior.
13th Warrior. Remember when
Yes,
they're on that boat ride across the ocean, even though it's not it's a canoe. How are they going across the ocean? But whatever. And throughout you see him watching it, and they hear gibberish, and eventually it starts to like slowly become English.
Mm-hmm.
They also do the same thing in that Tom Cruise Nazi movie that Bryan Singer directed, where he's speaking German in the beginning, and it slowly turns into English.
They also did that in Hunt for Red October.
Interesting. I haven't seen that movie in a while. You just
it's
got Frank Hart on there mentioning a submarine movie.
Hey, Frank was long, hard, and full of semen.
Frank. So let's talk about the episode a little more here. So Earth is fucked. He talks to the girl, and instead of being like, I had so many issues with the way he drew in the dirt because he went outside the first time and he got hit with the bread and saw she drew something in the ground. So he's talking to her and he's like, I'm from this planet. I flew out of my solar system. And he draws a line around the planet. And I'm like, that looks like nothing, dude. Like you could say, draw a planet and go this and point it like around, like this is this planet.
That's what I'm saying, man. This guy's astronaut skills, his astronaut skills are awful. It's like they must have hired this guy from the astronaut temp agency. Like there was nobody available that day. He was a substitute, and he got stuck doing this fucking job that he didn't want to do.
Yes, and it's like he never on his planet. Everyone speaks the same language, so he's never had to like kind of pantomime a conversation.
He never even played
that,
charades.
Yeah, that doesn't speak his language. So he's going circle, and then he draws a little. We went out of trajectory, and a crash landed. But he doesn't draw a crash landed. He just goes, "We crash landed. What about you?" And she's like, draws the exact same thing. She's like, "What happened to your ship? Your ship?" And he does like fucking dolphin thing, and she's like, hits the dirt, like she's trying to fuck up that planet.
If you would have muted it, it would have looked like he was trying to explain to her what the birds and the bees are. It's like, okay, here's where the eggs are fertilized, and here's the fallopian tube.
Get in that son bitch.
I'm
gonna grow within you.
This is me. This is my sperm, and this is your eggs.
Anyway, eat the apple. Don't worry about that fucking snake or whatever that tells you. Didn't go that far with the biblical.
They didn't even have a snake.
No,
I felt robbed that there was no snake
beforehand. They cut off beforehand. We don't get to see that yet. We all read the Bible, so we know where that's going.
He could have at least given us a snake. Even a bad snake would have given us something.
They give us so much other bullshit and hints that what's going on. Like, let me look at my notes real quick because but I guess my point is he's drawing little doodles and he's like frustrated and doesn't understand that she doesn't know English or speak his language when he's several million miles away from his planet. And I'm like, if I crash landed with someone on Earth, if I just like went up in the air into the atmosphere and then landed somewhere on Earth and it was random and I spoke English and they're like, and I wouldn't be like, how do you know? Like, the odds of landing on Earth and someone knowing your language is pretty slim. The fact that you're millions of miles away and you're talking to a literal alien at that point. Why the fuck would they know what you're saying? Why are you upset about that fact? This guy is the worst astronaut I've ever seen in my fucking life.
He's probably never even been to Walmart. I mean, nobody speaks English at Walmart, but I'm not going to lose my shit every time that the checkout lady can't say thank you in English. I mean,
I wouldn't know what you're talking about because I have not been to a checkout in Walmart in can't tell you how long. They have tough checkout for that exact reason, so you don't look at the person.
You've been tricked into using the self-checkout.
I have not been tricked. I have been rewarded by not having to talk to that fucking person. I'm not doing it. No.
But then again, you're not an astronaut, so you shouldn't have to. It's okay if you get upset. If you're an astronaut, you need to have there needs to be this space program. No wonder they all went to war because their space program is a fucking pile of shit. Obviously, they have no pre-qualifications, no trials, no exercises, none of that. I mean, this is at least there was a space program when this show was put into play. So we know that astronauts did train. I mean, there have been episodes of Twilight Zone that at least have a little bit more believable astronaut than this chucklefuck.
Chuckle fucking indeed, sir. I left my wine glass in the bathroom between our shows, and so I just have to drink out of the bottle now. I guess
this show is making you angry. It's just giving you bad habits.
Well, I just picture like talking to someone at Walmart that doesn't speak English, and you going like, "I'm from this. I flew off my trajectory. Do you have stamps? Like, what does this have to do with
fuck you?" I pay you, you put in cart.
If you don't get me stamps to send in mail, I'm going to fist you so fucking hard. Give me
this
stamp.
coupon, 75% off.
Like, he does that. He goes, are you or 3, 4, 5, 6?
I was just waiting for him to go like this and get it over with.
Where he's like, he's trying to hint to anal, where he's like, you and me. There we go. Yeah, let's do that. And she's just like, and then he sees on board with that. Yeah. You're not on board? Okay, bye. I don't care if the race dies. Don't care. It's not what the Bible's all about.
But she must be horny because eventually she comes back.
Well, this is when she scratches him, where he picks up a stick, his walking stick, because he has a fucking shattered leg or something. And she's like, no. no, or in her language, on, and then he drops the stick and he's like, no, we're fine, and she goes, motherfucker, ah! And it scratches his cheek. It's the worst stunt I've ever seen. She comes nowhere near him, and he's like, oh, and it cuts, and you can tell it's like half an hour later where they drew a little bit of blood.
Well, you seen how fragile this fuck. If you blew on him, he'd probably paralyze him for the rest of his life. You know,
Yeah,
he just fall over like.
He must be anemic or something, because that's never gonna heal. It's never gonna clot. That guy's dead from that scratch. He's got to get this girl preggers as quick as possible. And I hate to tell him, but the way he's trying to flirt with her with the, it's not going to get pregnant.
No. But
he goes inside because he recoils like a fucking, like he came into his shell, and he's like, oh, she scratched me. I'm going back to my ship. He goes inside. She eventually is waiting outside his ship like a real fucking stalker. Like, take a fucking hint. This episode works for me better as like a warning against physical violence in relationships than it does about like biblical allegory or anything like that.
Yep.
It's because she beats the shit out of him. She knocked him out with a rock and then scratched his face.
This episode is the other reason, other than Harvey Weinstein, why there's a Me Too movement going on.
It is
because this episode is proof.
She's violent. She is a violent sociopath. And he's out of options for warm holes in this planet. So he's like, comes outside again. He's like, oh, you're here. Cool. Whatever. Let's do this. All right. And he talks to her some more, and they kind of walk off. And he holds up some dirt, and he's like, what do you call this? And she's like, eat. And he's like, no, don't eat the fucking dirt, bitch. What is wrong with you?
So dumb, dude.
Holding soil. Don't eat the soil. Do I really have to explain this to you? Oh, you're asking if I thought I was telling you to eat this. Okay. And she walks over and she's kind of playing with the dirt. And she's just like, Earth. He goes, all right, we'll call it Earth. How else can we make this very obvious? Oh, I have a broken rib. I guess we'll have to have children now. Maybe Cain and Abel, perhaps? Maybe? How else can we spell this out for the audience? Oh, I'm Adam. I have a broken rib, and suddenly you're here.
I'm Adam Cook.
Yeah. And she's like, Eve, whatever the fuck her last name is.
Navi.
Yeah, it wasn't far off.
It was bad, dude. Because this is one of those ones where you go, you just want to get up and walk away.
It's at the end where it's like, he's Adam, she's Eve. He has a missing rib. They're going to a garden. She gives him a fucking apple, and he's like, what's this? And she says apples backwards. And then he's like, all right, I'll eat it. Good. This is a good garden. Where are we? And then fucking Rod kicks in here at the very end. Which
just in case you don't know, just to regurgitate what you just saw.
Yeah, I'm going to play it right now. We'll see where Rod kicks in here. Should be shortly after this. Let's see. Right about here-ish, I'll say. We don't have Frank for our audio clips.
Do you know these people? Names familiar, are they?
Yeah.
They lived a long time ago.
Did they?
Perhaps they're part fable.
Great.
Perhaps they're part fantasy.
Oh, great too.
And perhaps the place they're walking to now is not really called Eden. We offer it only as a presumption. This has been the Twilight Zone.
That's a fucking cop-out. That's a fucking cop-out. Adam.
I mean, you could have at least given us a snake, man. You know, it's I don't know. It's Adam and Eve, but Adam came from space and so did she, and then they just landed on Earth, and that's how creation was started. We there was a better shows that did this story. It's called Battlestar Galactica. Way better version of this shit.
Way more Christian though.
Yeah, true. It was a lot more religious, but it had a lot better character development and pacing, and wasn't so like blatantly on the nose. But yeah, it's hard to get invested in anything going on here. But the whole shtick that this is Earth is all this show has to offer. There's no build up. There's no tension. It's not terribly clever. It's the exact opposite of what we just saw from I never thought that I'd get to the point where I'm like, wow, we saw a good Tales from the Crypt episode. But we did. We saw like a really good one.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
a really bad Twilight Zone. I feel like I'm in Bizarro world right now.
Okay. So it's interesting to hear you say that. I agree. Tales from the Crypt today was way better than Twilight Zone. I mean, we don't really talk about one show and the other as far as episode.
I'm sorry.
We're on YouTube Live. Oh, no, you're good. But we're on YouTube Live now. This is a good time to bring it up. So if you want to check out this show, we are now live on YouTube for LIW Twilight Zone Review, as well as LIW Tales from the Crypt Review on Adam's channel, Raiders of the Lost Flicks. Go ahead and check that on YouTube. We're live on Tuesday nights. But it brings me to something Frank set up for this show. Frank's not here because he's a piece of shit. So let's talk about what Frank set up, which is he wanted to start talking about, he mentioned in the last episode where a tableau of reality from Twitter is, he wants to kind of start bringing up some of their tweets. So this is a tableau of reality at Gregory Tyson 13, just like it sounds. And I messaged him earlier and I'm like, we're doing this episode tonight. What do you want to say about it? And he kind of, he said he's going to throw up a poll. And I do have the results of that poll as of right now. Let me refresh in case there's anything new coming in.
You want to do a share screen for that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do
Alrighty.
that. It'll be on this one. Let me see. Since we are in a video, I'm not used to that. Okay.
All these fun things that you can do.
Yay. Okay, so it's going to be part of my screen, so not the whole fucking thing, so deal with that. What do you give Twilight Zone's Probe 7 over and out? For me, it's middle of the road, maybe as middle of the road as season 5 got. It's 2 Redux, the episode 2, wordier. This is Serling, and absent the immersive world building, but it should be noted the lead sprouts Serling like a G. And then I voted, there's, you know, he basically is what's the grade, A, B, C, D. 15% said A, 65% said B, 20% said C, 0 for D, even though it has something on the bar graph here. Whatever. Seems like 0% would have nothing, right?
I don't know.
I guess you got to say.
I don't understand how these our Twitter things work.
You just vote. That's it. But you think with 0 it would have nothing there, but I guess it's just the starting line. But so 65% B. I gave this a C, where I go, there's some of this episode I do like. Like D and below is the worst of the worst for me, though. So I give this a C, and hence the check mark. Where I was like, I like him in the episode and talking to the planet and stuff like that, and realizing he has to deal with the shit on his own. And how fucked he is. I like that stuff. The very, very end of it got really fucking dumb and obvious and way too biblical, and you know, biblical allegory, all that sort of shit. Way too on the nose. It reminded me, the beginning part reminded me a lot of the Jordan Peele episode, the 5 Degrees of Freedom, where the ship takes off and then Earth gets bombed to hell. Very similar to that. But unlike that episode, this one is a fucking slog. It's just like, oh, here we go. Oh, the Bible, great. And that episode went somewhere you didn't expect. I didn't love that episode, but I give that one a B. But this one just didn't really do much for me, but I didn't hate it. So, boo Rod. Frank said boo Rod. I like that Frank's. It's like his spirits here, like he's haunting us. Where he's not on the show, but I get to hear him chime in every once in a while.
The ghost of Frank. Yeah.
He's just haunting us.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm not like completely turned off by the idea of what they're trying to do here. Like it's a concept that could have worked. It's the complete execution that I have a problem with. It's not very, very well done. It's not terribly clever. It's a little too. It assumes that its audience is a lot dumber than we really are, and it's like, dude, you're on season 5. Most of your audience has watched all of the Twilight Zones up to this point. And back then, when science fiction came out, audiences were a lot smarter than they are now. Let's just face it. All right, let's call it like we see it.
I don't want to say smarter. I want to say more patient.
Patient didn't need as much. They didn't need as much hand holding, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
but being more patient led to them being smarter.
Yes,
I think it starts with the patience. I really do.
Yes.
Because if you're way too much of a fucking hurry, like nowadays, they can't focus on anything, you're not going to learn. So you're not going to absorb anything. So I don't think anyone. I think people as a whole are smarter now, but I think they're like our capacity for knowledge is bigger than it was then.
Education has gone this way. Patience has gone to this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why you lead to people like this, where it's like we have a specific show for specific people because that's what we grew up on. We're not going, here's 1990 as a whole. You know what I mean? We're not being very vague. We're going specific. You get these niche markets now. I just think people back then were way more patient. They weren't like, hurry up or get the fuck out of here because I have 2 other channels I can turn to.
You know what this feels like too? It feels like the original Planet of the Apes, the Charlton Heston one, if you would have skipped directly to the ending. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but if you would just skipped right to the ending and made the episode out of the last 30 minutes of that show. Like it just that one little concept that's what
movie's 52 years old. I think you can spoil it. Everyone knows the ending of that.
Yeah,
movie.
you know, so it's like it's like if you made a Twilight Zone episode about him just finding the Statue of Liberty. And you reveal that like about 50% of the way through. You know,
it is revealed at the end that it's not supposed to be Earth that he came from.
They kind of did, but it's like we saw it coming a long time ago. You know,
Yeah.
Pretty much as soon as he ran into her, I'm like, oh, that's going to be Eve, right? And they're okay.
Because my problem with the episode, if I could qualify it like this, isn't that it ends up being Adam and Eve, because it's just something, twist that doesn't really work for me. No harm, no foul, whatever. There's a lot of episodes that are like that. I don't hold that against it. I just think they need to have a secondary plot that you are being distracted with.
Yes,
and that unfortunately is not there, other than him giving up. But he gives up in scene 1. So therefore, by the time you get to the twist, you're already like expecting it because there's nothing else happening. There should be like, we need to build this. Oh, we have to overcome this. We have to do this. We have to do something other than drawing the fucking dirt with a stick.
I'm glad you brought up the distraction because it's like a good magic trick. You know, to do the sleight of hand, you need to distract the audience. So this one is like trying to do a magic trick on stage, but showing everybody immediately how the trick is done.
It's a
giving away a secret. Yeah.
Magician who forgot his coat and has no long sleeves. So you're just like, the ball. Oh shit! It dropped on the table, didn't it? Because it didn't go in my sleeve.
Hey, Amy Carter, welcome back. Yes, the Twilight Zone. This isn't the movie. This is the episode about Adam and Eve. That's what I call it. But yeah, it's Probe 7 over an hour.
Is Amy Carter 7 years old?
I don't know how old she is. Not really sure. She's one of my followers, but
I'm just asking.
No, I don't know how old she is. I don't usually ask people my age or their age because I don't want to have to reveal mine. So
the picture for Amy Carter, I'm like, this is a young person.
Could be a throwback picture for sure.
All right. Anyway,
but yeah, it does look like there's some pajamas on there. But the Twilight Zone movie is not bad. It's this episode is just kind of middle of the road. And something I wanted to bring up, and you and Frank had brought this up in previous episodes that were not aired on YouTube, is that sometimes having extra long seasons of a TV show results in episodes like this. So it's kind of, I like, like episodic type TV shows where each week is something different rather than just one ongoing story. I prefer that kind of entertainment. I like anthology movies as well, because when you do that, you trim off all of the fat and you have to get to the point. You have to tell your story. You're not doing that. But then when you have nothing else to go on, you have to make X amount of episodes in a series. You get episodes like this where probably they would have canceled this one, but this is like later in the season. So yeah, it's.
I'm getting text from Frank, who's already in the chat. Where do I begin with this?
Why aren't you on the show? So just
texting me
like in here.
Jealous girlfriend, like, where are you? You're not really alone. You're not really doing a YouTube show. You're with Teresa, aren't you? Who the fuck is Teresa? I know you talked about Teresa. Like, what? Who? But he's in the chat and he's texting me, and What the fuck more do you want, Frank? You ditched us, and then you're fucking hounding me. What more do you want? What can I do? How can I please you in this scenario? You're making it sound like I left you. He just messaged me and says, a chick just asked a question in the chat. And I was like, I know, you're on a delay. We're already talking about this.
I haven't missed anybody in the chat.
Amy, you're awesome. Frank, what the fuck are you doing? God damn, dude. I wouldn't make fun of you this bad if you were on the show. So this is on you. And I'm sorry your work called you in, as you said. But you know, when you moonlight as a prostitute in the greater Philadelphia area, this is the kind of shit you got to deal with. When you're pimp like you got to come in, Frank. You got to come in, and they got to come in you. You got to come in, Frank. So I don't know what you want to do, man. And he's not responding, so I'm guessing he's checked out again. Adam, this episode, the more I talk about it and the more I break it down, the more I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be angry because I'm having.
You don't want to change your grade either. You're still sticking with C because, like I said, it's still Twilight Zone. It's still not the worst thing we've ever seen. We've seen Tales from the Crypt episodes way worse than this.
No, definitely.
And we've also seen Twilight Zones worse than this.
Well, I give it Twilight Zone. I think of he gave me a B, C, D. D has got to be the worst of the worst in this because he basically gave D the EF ranking. So when you kind of you take the basement level out of a house, I have to go with D being the worst of the worst, right? And so you're stuck with A, B, C, D. And so D is like the fugitive, where it's a fucking pedophile who plays with a child for way too long. And then he literally abducts that child and marries her. And that's the plot of the episode of the Twilight Zone, where people forget about this kind of episode because it's so fucking creepy. That it shouldn't be a Twilight Zone episode. It is disturbing, that episode. He steals a child and marries her.
And because we're movie dorks, we've recommended 2 or 3 way better movies that take this concept and are very much better developed than this one.
Are you a child? Because I swear a lot and I say horrible things. Please ask your dad if you're allowed to be in here. I just want to say that to cover myself.
You talking about the Twilight Zone movie from the 80s? Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's kind of one of those unnecessary things that just didn't need to happen.
It also has, bringing back our last episode of Tales from the Crypt, also has Dan Aykroyd in it, the movie. You want to see something really scary?
Yep.
He's a vampire.
Yep.
It's the only scary thing in the entire movie.
That is true, sir. That is true. Unless you don't find the monster on the airplane scary in that one.
It's not scary, but it is done a lot better than the episode was. And I like that episode. But the movie's done a lot better. It's Joe Dante, who's fucking awesome.
Yes, he is.
If you haven't seen both Gremlins movies, go watch them right now.
Oh, they're brilliant.
They're brilliant.
Gremlins 2, I think, is one of the most seriously underrated sequels out there, man.
Like, I think Gremlins 2 is better than Gremlins 1.
It's way better. It is completely meta. It is making fun of everything, including itself, and I like that about it. It's a very smartly made sequel. They make fun
of the merchandise that the first movie made.
It makes fun of itself. Yeah,
shirts and stuff, and it's great.
Joe Dante went for complete parody, and I got every single reference, and it was an absolute joy to watch. I hadn't seen that until I was older. I didn't see Gremlins 2 in the theaters when it came out. No, I kind of forgot about it, and then I watched it. I want to say in 2012, and I'm like, holy shit, this movie is like one of the best sequels I've ever seen, and I didn't realize it. And I found it's like I found a new movie. It was great.
Yeah, the first one I watched as a kid. The second one is the one I watched a shit ton.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, when you're at that age, I'm pretty sure I confused the first two where I didn't know the difference. But I really enjoyed it because I remember the really snooty gremlin from the second one.
Yep.
In the chair.
Tony Randall. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one a lot. And I didn't realize there was 2 of them really until I got older. But I was like, oh, I like the first one, but I love the second one.
Your mind kind of blurs the two together. Yeah.
Frank said he's straight up in the ghetto. Okay. You're in Philadelphia. It's a shithole. Burn that city to the ground, Frank. Burn it to the ground.
You sure it's not? He's not just quoting like 90s song lyrics?
He's really in the Coolio this week.
You know?
Living in a gangster's paradise. I will stop before the YouTube.
Yeah, before the song censor comes and strikes my channel for singing Gangsters.
If I manage to sing that song so well it matches up with the YouTube patterns of the song, I kind of am proud of that, really. But chances are, since I'm tone deaf, there's nowhere I'll get nowhere near to that song.
Well, let me ask you this. When you're really drunk and high and you feel like you want to listen to that song, do you listen to Gangster's Paradise or do you listen to Amish Paradise? Because I usually listen to Amish Paradise.
Well, I'm really wanting what? Sorry. This isn't marijuana. This is just tobacco.
Yeah.
No, I do like Weird Al's Amish Paradise. I prefer Coolio's, if I'm being honest. I will admit to a bit of a Coolio obsession in my youth. Quite strong. I still know all the lyrics to Gangster's Paradise and something new and Too Hot, the AIDS song he did.
It's,
Remember that? It's too hot. Too hot.
yeah, I remember that song.
1, 2, 3, 4. Get your booty on the floor. Gotta get up to get down. Let's stop talking about Coolio. Let's talk about Twilight.
Yeah.
This isn't Way Off Topic Radio. We're not a shit show. So
Oh, that's a spicy meatball.
I'm waiting for Frank to respond to that one. I like this episode a little bit. I just say I have no idea what next week's episode is. The 7th is made up of phantoms. It's the second episode in a row with the number 7 in it. So we're going from Probe 7 over and out to the 7th is made up of phantoms. I have no idea.
Let's just pray it's not another biblical reference.
I hope not. Oh, God. I can't imagine the word phantom appears a lot in the Bible. But Frank, learn how to fucking spell. Learn how to spell. Scary does not have an E in it. God damn, dude.
Hey,
Anyway.
Adam and Phoenix, you want to see something really scurry?
Scary?
Scurry? Is that like Jim Scurry?
It's the
Yeah, starring Jim Scurry.
spelling comprehension of Coolio. So next week is the 7th is made up of phantoms. I don't know what it's about. I've seen it before because I've seen all of them, but I don't remember what it's about. And I'm kind of curious. So I will just say check us back out on Adam's YouTube, Raiders of the Lost Flicks. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're here already, you know what we're doing. But next Tuesday, same time, same channel, all that sort of shit. Next Tuesday is going to be a double feature of 705 of Tales from the Crypt, Horror in the Night, and 509 Probe 7 over and out for Twilight Zone. Adam, since I don't have a bingo ball to draw like we did in Tales from the Crypt, you into your plugs?
Sure, yeah. Best way to find me is www.raidersofthelostflicks.com. That's links to all my social medias, Instagrams, Twitters, Facebook, all that sort of thing. I have a live show every Friday night on my YouTube channel, and now we're doing his podcast, which is the Tales from the Crypt and the Twilight Zone, on this channel on Tuesday nights. So just look me at Raiders of the Lost Flicks on YouTube, like Phoenix just said. So
Oh, go fuck yourself, Adam.
Freudian slip, sorry.
Oh, fuck you. How dare you?
How dare you?
How
You find this man. You find
dare
him.
you? Yeah, go check him out. Frank is the usual shit he spouts out of his mouth hole is ISCP podcast, Red Dragons Radio, which is not shit. That's a great one that carries at this show. He also says something like double LNKZ or something on Twitter. Who gives a shit? He's not here. This is what you get if you're not here. I'm sorry, dude. He says, yeah, Philly smells bad. That's the only defense he has for himself. I will just say LIWstudios.com, which is a great site. Unlike there's a minimal Frank on there. Loitering in Wonderland on YouTube, Loitering in Wonderland Studios on Patreon, which you can get our Tales from the Crypt commentary reviews way early because we are like 6 or 7 weeks ahead of schedule. So this that you're watching right now on Adam's Facebook or YouTube page will not be available on our podcast feed until the very end of June. And right now it's May 5th. So we're really ahead of schedule on the show.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, we're recording. Adam's sober. I'm drinking a lot of wine. Frank's not fucking here. He's not fucking here. He's holding up his water over there.
He had a Cinco de Mayo arrangement.
Yeah. He has an emergency call at work, which is go get filled by 3 men. I don't know what the fuck Frank does for a living. I just take a prostitute.
He got selected for glory hole duty.
Oh, it's a glorious duty. Like it's in the army. You're on glory hole duty, Sergeant. Ah, fuck. Okay. I love this country.
I would have told that astronaut to cut a hole in the side of his spaceship, but I'm afraid he would have hurt himself and accidentally cut his dick off doing that.
Or the sparks would have got him.
You remember that part where he's got the sparks and oh, I wonder if that guy burned himself. It looked like he touched the damn sparks and put it out with his bare hand. Yeah.
He had gloves on.
Oh, okay. Bummer.
I was paying attention. He had gloves on. I thought the same.
That's about as technical as that episode got, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just say, go check out all that shit and check out all of our other shows. LIW, the TZ review, this one, LIW Tales from the Crypt review, Westworld, American Horror Story, Walking Dead, B-Movie Battle, Nyquil and Cocaine, which is coming back for this year. What else? What else do I want to pitch? I can't believe I'm so used to doing this show that I felt fuck you, Frank. That I felt
I like that video.
that I felt the hour mark coming up because we're here right now at the hour mark, about to hit it. But I've done the show 165 times now, so I know when the hour mark's coming up. But Frank is talking about my Cats video for Things Will Burn in Hell,
and it's not the Cats movie. It's just the animal cats in general. It just
I like cats.
His observations on cats, which anybody that makes jokes about cats, I find it funny. I don't dislike cats either. I am more of a dog person, but that's okay. It's a preference.
Dogs are outside right now, freaking out. I can hear them.
Yeah.
But I've been to friends' houses. The whole premise of that is I kept going to my friend's house from work, and she would be like, "So," I'm like, "What's that? Like it smells like a cat." Like nothing wrong with having cats. I get it, but I'm like, what's going on with the cat? There's a box there full of turds. Obviously, I assume that's cats. Otherwise, you're fucking weird and you need to use the bathroom more often. Why the fuck is there a cat box? I've been here a dozen times now. You don't have a cat. And she's like, no, there's a cat. I'm like, why are you fucking with me? And this is like 10 friends I've been over to their house and never seen their cat other than razors from below the couch. And I'm like, fuck. And they're like, oh yeah, there's a cat. And I'm like, why didn't you warn me?
Phoenix.
There's like a sniper with razors below the fucking couch.
Phoenix, it's because you have dogs, and cats don't like the smell of the dogs on your clothing.
Good. If they're that obsessed with dogs and like don't want to go near me because of the dogs, fuck them. Fuck cats. I like cats. I had cats growing up, but at this point in my life, if I have one kid and I smell the other kid I had and it doesn't want to come near me? Fuck you, kid.
There's a part where you were talking about when cats like rub their face against, like they have some kind of weird sex gland in their face or some shit like that. In the movie Cats, the one that came out in 2019, the horrible Universal abomination that flopped at the box office, when those cats go to hug or kiss, they rub their faces against each other like cats do. It's really fucking
I just want to say release the butthole cut.
Yep. Hashtag release the butthole cut. Make this a thing, please.
I want to see those cats, giant starfishes below their tails.
Yep.
I want to see what the fuck is her name?
Rebel
Swift,
Wilson. Yeah.
With a big fucking bright red swollen anus.
Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Wilson's would be so massive.
Dude, the reason I say that is because like very early on in the show, there's a part where you're introduced to Rebel Wilson and she's laying on her back, spread eagle, just rolling around on the floor with her fucking crotch hanging out in the breeze. If you put the butthole cut into that, it's going to have to change its rating to X for sure.
X for, it should be 2 X's because it's kind of a
double X's. Yeah,
double X's.
It's like an asterisk. Yeah.
Like an asterisk. Yeah. Oh, we should get out of here, right?
Yeah.
I'm making asshole puns. Let's get out of here. Adam, any parting words of wisdom I only do this with just you and me. Any parting words of wisdom or lessons you learned from Probe 7 over and out?
If you're going to do a biblical episode, don't treat your audience like they've never either A, never been to Sunday school, or B, never seen a science fiction movie or read a science fiction novel, or just basically read a novel in general. People are not as dumb as you think they are. That's all I'm going to say.
I learned that apparently Jordan Peele's 2019 remake of Twilight Zone somehow did an episode better.
Oof.
Bums me out.
Oof.
Because the episode 6 Degrees of Separation is better than this episode. It doesn't have all the biblical allegory bullshit, but it's a fairly decent episode about space travel and the world ending and the beginning. It's like the first 3/4 of this episode. It ignores all the landing and shit.
Oh, also I learned never hire your astronauts from a temp agency or your planet will go to world war.
A temp agency is like a great place to go after you get out of prison. So
yeah,
you don't want to hire astronauts out of that.
Don't go be an astronaut, especially if you're afraid of loneliness and isolation. Jesus Christ.
I also learned that apparently the Twilight Zone can handle multiple episodes where you think they came from Earth, but they came from somewhere else and landed on Earth. And that's the twist. It's
kind of like you're on season 5 now. How many times do you think you're going to get away with that joke? Like you've done it more than once now. It's been done way better in earlier episodes.
It happens in this one, The Invaders. It happens in, I forget the episode name, but where they land back on Earth. They left Earth and landed back on Earth, and he draws the electric poles, or whatever those are called. My brain is failing me right now. I love that I can rant for 7 minutes straight at 600 words a second, but then I suddenly slow down. I forget one basic word. But that episode, it happens a bunch, and it's kind of like a Woody Allen thing, where he's just trying to perfect the exact same thing over and over. And you're like, dude, just move on. It's fine. Just move on. You don't.
It's like Star Wars, the special edition.
Oh God. Or Ridley Scott's Blade Runner or The Exorcist. They have like 75 cuts of both those movies, and like, stop it! I can't take any more.
I have a Blade Runner Blu-ray with 5 different cuts on it. No bullshit.
Dawn of the Dead has 3 different cuts on the DVD. I don't need a European cut. Why?
The only cut I want is the butthole cut of Cats.
Release the butthole cut.
Make this happen. Give the audiences what they want, Universal, since theaters aren't going to show your movies anymore.
Fucking Universal. But yeah, I learned a lot in this episode. I learned too much. And let's get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Until next time. And in the meantime, thanks for watching on YouTube. I assume most people are going to watch after, considering the low turnout for the live. But I appreciate you watching later. Subscribe to Loitering In Wonderland YouTube. Subscribe to Raiders of the Lost Flicks on YouTube. Hit that.
All of the links are in the description to our shows and channels.
Do you want to play that little clip there real quick?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will do that. Thanks for bringing that up.
Connor. I was talking over it because you can hear it on my end, and they'll hear me over that on the podcast end. We got 2 things going on here, and it's very confusing. But until next time, in the meantime, I'm Phoenix West.
And I'm Adam Wilcox.
We'll see you next week with Frank Links back on the show. We have one more person talking. Sorry, real quick. Hey, guys, what's up in the U.S.? Well, we have a lot of debt to China. It's getting in the trillions. We have a mixed relationship in South America. We set up a lot of dictators that took over the countries and will not release the power. They moved on since, but they've all been assassinated by their own people, and they took over. We still have government backing, and Ollie North kind of fucked over everything, and he left, and Reagan kicked him out, and now he's on Fox News. Adam, what else we got going on in the U.S.?
We also have the fact that toilet paper is worth more than a barrel of oil over here.
We got that going on. We can't find toilet paper anywhere. There's coronavirus. I haven't noticed it personally. I don't leave the house anyway because I'm severely injured. Adam the same way. Frank the same way, although he's at work right now. We also got like reality TV that's kind of ruined our way of life and moralities. We got music that is garbage and not really. It's just created on a computer. Nobody plays an instrument. We got movies that Hollywood makes the dog shit movies, and B movies like independent movies are better movies now that look better than actual Hollywood movies.
We have movies that
Yeah,
not only not sell here, they don't sell overseas either.
Yeah, and we also have a declining dollar that is just plummeting at an extreme rate. But since the rest of the world is too, because they're in economic collapse as well due to the coronavirus, we're kind of staying ahead of the curve, really. But also, we have a ineffectual leadership that is not helping us battle the coronavirus. We have no idea what our actual numbers are. Death tolls is at 65,000 as of Sunday, but really, it's probably double that because we're not looking into how many actual numbers there are. But yeah, in the U.S. That's what's going on here. Whew.
Well, you take care of yourself too. Appreciate that.
Oh, you two take care through the virus. I thought you said we could take care of the virus. I'm like, oh, cool. We're gonna fight the virus.
No, we haven't fired the virus yet. We're trying to find a way. We haven't quite gotten there.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we're gonna get out of here. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Peace out.
So long, citizen.